Chapter 341 Resolves. By the way, what is your plan for this 3 months holiday? You can choose to not answer. Kai asked Michelle before leaving, as the others seemed to be curious as well. Since he had told them he would train with his teacher, he wanted to know about the others as well. Of course, there was no force to talk about it. If the others had difficulty to say it, they could simply shake their heads. Michelle thought for a moment and explained, I don't really have any concrete plans, because I don't know how long I can master one thing. For now, I have 3 objectives. The first is to find my new style with weight-oriented. Just like Rapaka said, I didn't really have a powerful offensive ability, so I want to change that by using dance instead. A dance that would let me continuously use 2 two-handed swords to pressure my opponent. The second objective is to increase my control over my shadow that would allow me to get an advantage even in the day. I mean, you can feel it as well, but my control over my shadow is a bit too weak. If I can have them move like me, my offensive power will increase greatly, especially with the current style that I am pursuing. As for the last objective, it's still a secret. I don't want to say this one. She stuck her tongue out. Kai smiled and nodded. Thank you. I wish you luck in this training and see the stronger you after this training. Yep, thank you. Michelle smiled and asked, what about you? Kai thought for a while. I will be following your style, so there are a few objectives that I want to achieve during this training session. First, I want to create new magic to increase my attack power. As you know, my strongest attack is Vibration Sword, but if I miss it, I need to defend against the enemy's attack because it is my most vulnerable state. 2 swords won't cut it this time. The second is to beat my teacher. I don't have a big hope for this, but I wish to defeat her at least 20 times out of 100 matches. Yeah, it's pretty low, but compared to last time, I should be able to do it. My teacher is also improving by the day, so I don't know the result of this training. As for my last objective, I simply want to learn more about war and strategy from her. So maybe I will be hopping from one battlefield to another with her to learn this. I don't know if it's possible to raise my rank, but yeah, that's about it. Kai finished his explanation with a smile before looking at Tasha and the others. How about you guys? Why don't we talk about this while we are at it? Tasha and the others hesitated for a second before Tasha chose to tell them. Unlike both of you, I don't have a concrete plan for this. For now, I will be improving my space magic and lightning magic. Probably one more lightning magic to increase my attack power. After that, I will probably go to the battlefield for 1 or 2 months to increase my strength and see what kind of system the military employs. I need to do this because I will be graduating 1 year earlier than you guys, so I need to adjust my schedule to match this. When you come to the army, I will be your greatest support to the point you don't even need to look at your back, because I will be the one protecting it. Tasha smiled and gave a thumb up. As expected of an elder sister, this is the power, huh? Michelle narrowed her eyes, teasing her. Do you want to challenge me, Michelle? I don't mind having a one-on-one when we are back to school. Michelle shrugged. Instead of fighting, it's better to see who can contribute more in the last 3 missions before your graduation. Fair enough. We shall settle our grudge in those 3 missions. Tasha nodded. Good enough for me. She shook Tasha's hand while smiling. It's my turn, or do you want to go first, Evan? Ayaka asked. I will go first then, so I don't forget about it. He nodded while taking out his device to take a note. First of all, I am going to the EU base for this training to train under a poison expert. Wait, you are going to the EU base? Sophia gasped before remembering a certain person that was known as a poison expert. Don't tell me that poison expert in your mouth is Madam. Yeah, it's her. The president has talked to her, allowing me to study under her tutelage. Of course, the one that planned all of this was Kai's teacher, Ria Ross. I can't express my gratitude enough for this opportunity, since this is a perfect time to explore this new ability of mine. I have heard about the details, so I guess I will be flying with you, Sophia. I don't really mind. It's not like I have a private plane for myself. She shrugged. Are you going to take your woman with you? No. After talking about this with her, she decided to stay in the base to increase her fighting ability. She wasn't sure about this, but she might join the army with her own group to get experiences. So, some of you might find her on the battlefield. When that time comes, please take care of her. Evan bowed his head. Don't worry. We're like brothers and sisters with Eagle Group. Kai smiled while patting his shoulder. Thank you. He nodded. In addition, I will be increasing my accuracy during this time, and if possible, I want to use 2 pistols simultaneously. That's a good plan. How about you, Sophia? Ayaka asked her first since she wanted to go. Last Sophia hesitated for a second and explained. I have talked to my father regarding this idea, although he was quite furious because I will waste 3 months. Ahem, as you already know about my mission in this base. Anyway, I will be increasing my ice ability since I know that I am a bit behind all of you guys. Don't worry, I won't be a burden after this. For now, I have a few things prepared, such as Ice Magician Tutor and Military Instructor. I will pursue both magic and commanding ability. I won't let Kai handle everything alone, so I will try to increase my ability as a strategist. There is one more thing. She looked down while scratching the back of her head as if she wanted to say something embarrassing. I will increase my proficiency in my mimicking ability. I might even become the most beautiful woman and Sedu. Ahem, never mind. I was too excited, please forget it. The others were dumbfounded and looked at Kai, who remained silent. Listen to me, Captain. This is coming from the love coach, me, Evan. Evan shook Kai's shoulders and gave a thumbs up. Since you are training with your teacher, you should ask more for that medicine that allows you to, Kai twitched his eyebrows and grabbed his hands with his full strength before Evan screamed in pain. Ouch! Ouch! What are you? Evan stopped when he saw that Alex was smiling, but that smile was nothing but scary. He fell silent, looked down and apologized. I am sorry, okay. I won't continue and tease you more. Kai sighed. I can't say anything other than good luck. Michelle and the girls shrugged as if this was something normal. Tasha decided to be the one saying this piece to him. Just make sure you don't forget that we are sacrificing our heart as well, just to accept another person in the family. Okay. Kai looked down, feeling guilty. Although he didn't say he accepted Sophia, he still gave her a chance. Sophia looked down and remained silent. Seeing the awkward situation, Ayaka decided to end this with her objective. First of all, I will finish the 2 orders first. Tasha's special explosion arrow and Evan's explosion bullet. For Tasha, it's a bit complicated because we need to understand her lightning principle and make it compatible with my magic as well. This will take a lot of trials and errors, and I think the cost will be a bit high, so we won't really produce many of them at once, since the specialist will make them by hand. Different from her, Evan's explosion bullets are not that different than the one we have. We can sell the ones we already have, but I guess there is room for improvement, so I will try to form a team to increase their efficiency and other things. After that, I will consolidate my power by using heavy-weighted armor all over my body. As Elder Rapaka said, if I fully unleash this potential, my strength won't lose to that of Kai with his. Ayaka pumped her fist. And I will be joining the army if I have the time. The purpose is similar to Sophia's. Kai raised his hand to the stomach's level. The others realized what he wanted to do and put their hands above his hand, stacking up. Since we have set our goal, let's meet again 3 months from now and become stronger than ever. It's time for the line to sleep and rest, so we can stand back up again brimming with energy. Yay! They raised their hand and cheered. After that, they came in the car prepared by Nathan as Kai opened the window and talked to Michelle one last time. Before we leave, I want to inform you guys that I will be giving you a big present when all of us have succeeded in training, so make sure you don't injure yourself. All right. Kai smiled, keeping the present mysterious. Only Sophia knew about this as it was included in their negotiation and knew it was the time to give them. All right, see you later in 3 months. Kai waved his hand to Michelle as the driver stepped on the gas, slowly leaving the mansion. Chapter 342, Supersonic Sword. 1 week later, Kai smiled at his parents in front of the train that would soon leave the station. I will be going for 3 months. Take care, all right? Yeah. Unfortunately, Tasha can't see you off. She is busy with her matters, especially since she is preparing for her graduation. She will be gone for a month or two too. We know it. James Carter nodded and patted Kai's shoulders. We can only watch the news from home and can't help you with a single thing in your job. Although you might have grown tired of hearing this, I will say this no matter how many times I need to say it. You will always be our pride and joy, so please take care of yourself. Of course, you two should also take care of yourself since Tasha and I won't be home for a few months. Don't worry, we both will be fine. James nodded while smiling at his wife that agreed with him. Go pursue what you want. If you feel tired of everything, just come back home and talk to us. We will lit the fire in your heart once again. Kai smiled and hugged his father and mother before coming inside the train. I am going, yeah. The train soon moved, heading straight to the station near Ria Ross's house. The journey didn't take too long, and Kai immediately went toward the rundown house that had a very different look between inside and outside. He knocked on the door of the rundown house. As if she had been waiting for him not far from the door, she opened the door 1 second after he rang the bell. I have been waiting for you. She smiled. Kai looked at her messy clothes and the bag under her eyes. Did you sleep last night? I did. I am a responsible adult. How long? 1 hour. That can only barely be called a nap. What adult? Kai sighed and opened the door wider so he could go inside. Have you cleaned your room yet? You didn't clean your room the last time I came here with the others, and Ayaka told me you didn't clean it when she came alone. Ah ha ha ha. Ria Ross scratched the back of her head and looked away. Anyway, I will be living here for 3 months, so I will clean this place up first. For now, how about you sleep for a few hours? I will eat first and take a shower. She let out a long sigh, as if Kai would keep nagging her unless she did everything necessary. Kai sighed. I still remember how you never cleaned up your room, even when you trained me a decade ago. Geez, you need to enjoy your time, you know. Shouldn't you be grateful that your teacher is a workaholic? You can get everything in time, and it's not like I have any problem in daily life. She shrugged. You are going to collapse soon, you know. Maybe I shouldn't ask anything from you like I did in the past 10 years. Right? I heard from Sir Nathan that you led a better life when I didn't. Fine, fine. You just want me to rest, right? She sighed. You were always like this. Even though I had bullied you the whole day, you kept nagging me to rest with you because you didn't want me to fall sick. So, you do realize that back then you gave me a trauma. Kai twitched his eyebrows in annoyance. That wasn't trauma. You just got used to pain. That's the most basic thing you need to have on the battlefield, other than fear resistance, like opening your eyes when your enemies attack you or techniques. She proudly claimed. Whatever. Anyway, what did you eat daily? I just ordered it online or some instant noodles. I bet you ate them when they had become cold because you were too focused on your research. They tasted the same. She shrugged as if it wasn't a big deal. Anyway, you will have a healthy lifestyle when I am living here. If you don't abide by this, I won't follow any of your instructions. Fine. Even if you want me to burn all my research, I will do it. She gave a thumb up, telling him that he was more important than everything she had. Yeah, go get a healthy lunch first and take a shower. I will handle everything. Kai sighed. All right before that, do you want to eat too? Nope, I have eaten not long ago. Kai waved his hand. She and Kai then went to the room where she found her device and ordered food there. Kai face-palmed when he saw the room. Papers were on the ground and everything looked messy, including the trash. I will take a shower right now. She immediately escaped. Kai looked at her back and shook his head with a helpless smile. She looked more energetic when he came, so he just ignored everything and proceeded in dealing with this mess. A few minutes later, she returned to the room, finding Kai had thrown all the trash and fixed a portion of the mess. He glanced at her and said, I have heated the food. She looked at her table, finding the food she ordered earlier while piping smoke. Walking to the table, she sat down and started eating. By the way, how are you doing, teacher? Kai asked. I am good. I have found a solution for the side effect of your lion blood that makes you go berserk. However, I still need various tests to see if it's safe for you or not, and wait for the highest quality materials. And I found out that the solution can increase your strength even further, as if it unleashes the suppressed ability in that blood. That's good to hear, but won't that be snatched by the government again? I have never submitted or discussed this with other people, so I am good. It's not like anyone can hack me, she shrugged. The reason I didn't do anything with my baby, the Zodiac project, was because I had enough with it. Well, you could say I was content with just you. Kai smiled and nodded. Thanks, heh. Oh, right. I have meant to ask you this question, but what is your purpose for coming here? I know that you want to train, but I don't know the specific. I will be figuring out the new magic that I have been working for. I am a little curious about it. Well, you will know eventually, so I guess there is no need to hide this. Kai hesitated for a second. The concept comes from the sonic boom. Ah, so that's why you want me to create a weapon far stronger than the one you have right now. She nodded in understanding. Although I don't really know the details of your plan, I can somehow understand that the sword needs to withstand the pressure. Yeah, she recalled everything she knew about the sonic boom and muttered, "Sonic boom. The phenomenon of a shock wave was created when an object travels through the air faster than the speed of sound. The shock wave itself is enough to cause small damage to the surrounding, and I believe it can complement your vibration sword and bring out something far more terrifying than a normal sonic boom. If it can cause substantial damage, I believe it is deadlier than your vibration sword alone. That's the concept, but I don't know if I will succeed. But you know that a sonic boom does not occur only at the moment an object crosses the speed of sound, and neither is it heard in all directions, emanating from the supersonic object. Right, yeah. The boom is a continuous effect that occurs while the object is traveling at supersonic speeds, but it affects only observers that are positioned at a point that intersects a region in the shape of a cone behind the object, Kai confirmed. Then, how are you planning to use it? The continuous effect alone is hard to achieve. Kai smiled and took out his weapon, slowly swinging downward. You see this sword? It's a normal swing, right? But teacher should already know that it cuts the air. Indeed. She nodded, fell silent for a moment, and opened her mouth in surprise. Interesting. Yeah. That's why I want to try it. When I swing my sword downward, it cuts the air. However, we can explain this in another way. Because the sword travels here, the air is forced to move, resulting in a wind flow from the bottom of my sword to the top of my swords. Just like how airplanes fly because of the difference of velocity between the air flowing on the bottom and the top spot of the wing, this one uses the same technique. Of course, instead of the difference of two, I will classify it as three parts: the bottom of the sword, the sides, left and right, and the top. This way, I can generate enough wind pressure to make the sound flow. After that, through my vibration sword magic, I will amplify it even further, so the swords vibrate faster than the speed of sound. It will increase the sound wave in the sides before flowing to the top of the sword. Of course, the front has quite powerful energy too when I use this concept, but it's nothing compared to the sides and the top of the sword. That's why I asked teacher for a stronger sword. It's to have a more powerful sword body to withstand the speed of sound. As for the thunderclap sound every time sound boom occurs, I will try to fix it by controlling the frequency. As long as it's above human ears can perceive, it will be all right. Kai smirked. Interesting. This time, you might be able to kill me if you succeed in this technique. I am looking forward to it. Yeah, that's why you need to sleep first. I want to fight you in your top condition. Of course, a month from now, Kai smiled. You bet. Chapter 343, Teacher and Student. After cleaning up the entire house, he looked at the clock and sighed. To think it's already 8 p.m. I should order something to eat. How about going out with me? Ria suddenly appeared with her sleepy eyes. I was about to order something since I realized you have woken up. Kai looked at her messy clothes. How about we eat outside? It's good to refresh our mind before having intensive training. You know, she smiled. Fine. You should wash yourself first and change your clothes. It's quite freezing outside. Sure, give me 10 minutes. She waved her hand and walked back to her room. Kai looked at the pile of documents she needed to cover this whole time. 70% of them contained the research about him, starting from his new sword, sound concept, lion blood, and so on. The rest, 30% only, had the investigation and data about Tasha and the others. He just had no heart to decline her teacher after seeing her doing this much to him. Walking straight to her table, he smiled. Thank you. He waited for 8 minutes, and Ria had finally dressed herself up. Unlike her usual lazy appearance, she had tidied herself up a little bit. Instead of having her hair get messy by just keeping it loose, she tied it into a ponytail, making her look energetic. After having enough sleep, the bag under her eyes reduced so much to the point it didn't look there was one from the beginning. She had a one-piece purple dress, reaching her knees. To fight the cold, she covered herself with a long leather coat and high leather boots. As for makeup, she never used it to the point she never had one to begin with. Even so, people might mistake her as someone who just entered her prime, not someone who was the same age as his mother. What did I mesmerize you, naughty boy? She smiled and walked toward him. Kai pinched the bridge of his nose and massaged it for a few seconds before looking at her again. Who are you? Oi oi, I am your teacher. I have finally dressed myself up, and you are this rude. She crossed her arms as if he just wronged her. Ahaha, I was kidding. I never saw you this beautiful in the past 2 years, but I remembered your appearance back when I was still a kid. Kai put on a gentle smile, happy with his teacher. Even when meeting with the president, she wore either a military uniform or the usual lab coat, making him a bit concerned. Now you say it, but this teacher doesn't approve of this taboo relationship. Do you think I approve that? Kai narrowed his eyes. Who knows? You are someone who will marry his sister with the reason not related by blood, so there is no telling. Kai twitched his eyebrows and sighed. I am just thinking whether I should put your picture on a dating site. I am sure there will be many people lining up. Don't you dare. She slapped the back of his head. I don't have any intention of getting married. Just let me carry your child later. I don't want to have one myself because it will take everything from me. It's not like I am a man who needs to work hard to repopulate this planet. Haha. Anyway, let's go. I'm a bit hungry. Sure. It will be my breakfast. I will fix that time of yours during my stay. Kai rolled his eyes. No, I mean seriously, you should probably have a husband that can control your time and schedule. It's an assistant, not a husband. She shook her head. Anyway, let's go. We will go with all you can eat. Kai smiled as they both walked. According to her, the store wasn't far away, so she often visited the place. However, Alex was baffled when he saw what it was. It was simply a festival with 100 stalls on a long road in a certain marketplace. This is the marketplace in this area. I often come here because there are many menus here, and they're pretty cheap, considering this place is always like this every day. Come, what do you want to eat? She grabbed his hand like a girlfriend would do and dragged him inside. Kai wanted to tell her about the hand, but she looked like an elder sister right now, so it was fine. He decided to enjoy this relaxing time with her. The two then started eating, trying 30 stalls in just an hour, as if their stomachs were a rubber. After filling their empty stomach, she just clung to his hand while enjoying the walk without any aim. Kai, do you remember the first time I met you? Yes. You almost died due to a magical beast. But to my surprise, when I arrived there, the beast had already died, perplexing even the genius me. Do you remember what happens back then? I think I have told you about this. There was someone using a mask killing the magical beast. After killing the beast, that person disappeared. That was a strange case that I couldn't even solve. There might be something hidden in United Asia, but I don't know if you have the will to discover it. I have gotten used to living here, so I currently have no plan in going back other than helping Yajima Haruko from the Balance and Payback for what the Katsuragi family has put my family into a troublesome situation, Kai sighed. I know that desire well. In fact, I am supportive of that idea to the point I want to join you when the time comes, but who knows whether I can move again or not. If I can, I am going to investigate the one who helped you and thank you for saving my student. Well, it's your choice. I can help you, but I won't stay for too long in United Asia. Yeah, anyway, it really brings back memories when relaxing with you. Now that I think about it, I have never had a time like this with you. Yeah, the only thing you did every day was killing me, so there was nothing like this. But I still fed you and washed your body. That was only when I was a kid. Well, this kind of memory is good once in a while. There are many things I want to talk about with you, but I can't just bring myself to tell you other than any teaching materials. I will be here 3 months, Kai sighed. Finding the hidden meaning in his words, she simply smiled. Yeah, that's good enough. Still, the memory of when you were a kid put a smile on my face every time I recalled it. The brat that looked like he had no will to live actually kept telling me to live. It was so hilarious that it wasn't even funny. Just like how you saved me, I just wanted to tell you to live because you looked like me in the past. Kai shrugged. Yeah, I remembered that it was like our existence just gave a boost to each other, so we could keep living, fending ourselves off those hurdles in life. You sound like an old lady. I'm still in my 40s. She pinched his arm, annoyed. Whatever. In any case, it's true that the training brought me trauma, but I never once thought I hated you. In fact, I have been grateful to you this whole time. She smiled and closed her eyes. I want you to rely on me more. You know what? When you suddenly came to this base, I almost had a heart attack after hearing you were heavily injured. I was sad that you didn't call me because I would immediately board the plane and head to United Asia and probably destroy the Katsuragi family. Ahahaha. That was my fault. I should have overcome my trauma sooner. But I guess it's okay. It was only because they chased you out of that base you could stay here. She made a genuine smile, as if this was the peace she wanted this whole time. I also heard that you were the one treating my family and me when I collapsed back then. Because you were afraid of my mental state, you chose to leave me in Michelle's hand. I am a bad student. No, no. You are my treasure that can understand me. And the opposite applies as well. I can understand your feelings and know that it's not the time. If not, you would have called me. She smiled. All right, let's stop this depressing talk. Everything is all right now. Yeah. Oh, maybe one that is a bit more serious. It's regarding your new sword. I have the prototype ready, but I need to test it first. So you can't really use it right now. It will be ready in another 2 weeks to 3 weeks with my current prediction. I am looking forward to using it. This will be the time you lose, teacher. It's 25 years too early for you to challenge me. Why are you using our real age difference? Kai twitched his eyebrows. Because I am sure I won't be able to challenge you if we are the same age. As for right now, there is already a chance of you defeating me, and I still remember you have the necklace that Rapaka gave you. Yeah? Although I don't know where the promised land in his mouth is, I can put it on my neck while traveling around the world. Kai nodded. You still need to reach 1-star general first before that. Ria sighed. Well, let's wander around for 1 more hour before going back, okay? It's not like we have a lot of time like this. Kai smiled and nodded. Yeah. Chapter 344, Training. The next day, Kai finally started his training. It wasn't something big from the beginning, just testing some things for his new magic. After all, the concept was there, but not the execution. To do this, he specifically asked his teacher for the training world because he felt he might be injured from this training. When a week passed, Ria Ross came to him with a sword. The sword looked the same as his current sword, but the materials had been changed. The color was more apparent since it became a green sword instead. Teacher, this is, yeah, that's your sword. Since you are here, I have been working faster than I can imagine. She smiled. Take care of that sword, will you? That's the best one I have ever worked on. I don't think any weapon can match the hardness of this sword. Of course, I will be a fool if I don't. Well, that is if the sword can withstand the pressure coming from the sonic boom. Have you figured out the magic? The basics are there. I just need some tweaking. You want to see it? Sure, I am curious. I will make sure to watch out the weapon that might kill me in our battle, she smirked. I don't want to lose to a brat like you. Nope. You are going down, Kai shrugged as both of them went from the study room to the training room. Inside, there was a huge monitor and some devices to control the virtual world, just like those in Graham family's mansion. Do you have any specific place or environment you want to request? She asked. Nope, just a normal one. I don't mind if it's just a basic white room. Kai shook his head. Later, I want to see whether the wind or any other elements will affect my magic or not. I see. For now, I will input the data of this sword first, so you can summon it in the virtual room. She nodded and began typing for a few minutes before pointing at the training tubes. Choose any of them. There were 5 training tubes. That was why she let him choose. Kai nodded and took the left one, the one that he used when he fought against Ria Ross. I have used the data of our real world to make sure that the sonic boom and other phenomena appear as how everything is supposed to be. I understand. Thank you. Kai nodded with a smile while entering the training tube. All right, transferring. Kai closed his eyes, and his consciousness teleported inside the white room. A huge screen then appeared in front of him where he could see Ria's figure. I will remain by your side until this training session finishes to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Are you fine with that? Yeah. Please take care of me. Kai nodded. This is your sword, she said while summoning his new sword. Kai felt the sword first to check the difference between the real sword and this virtual sword. Fortunately, Ria's skill was top-notch as she managed to replicate it perfectly. He then closed his eyes for a couple seconds, and two magic circles appeared, one on top of his sword, and the other one was the ball on the blade itself. The latter generated vibration with the oscillation speed near the speed of sound. In a normal situation alone, this sword was far sharper than the one he had previously. When the second magic circle was activated, it shook uncontrollably in his hand as he felt the wind blowing from the sword to his left and right. Kai stabilized the sword in his hand by using a bit more power. I will try to swing it to see the response. All right. After getting the confirmation from Ria, he proceeded to swing it downward. The pressure moved from the sides to upward as he predicted. However, he never expected that it became a boost to the sword itself to create a more powerful swing, increasing the velocity. Not good. The force from the sonic boom pushed his sword farther than he aimed, hitting the ground. The sound wave immediately became unstable and uncontrollable as it flew in all directions, including Kai's body. It hit him on the stomach, as if there was a boulder hitting him right on that spot, blowing him away to the wall, to the point it created a crater just from the force transmitted from Kai's body to the wall. Gah! He spat out blood as he felt some ribs were broken. Are you okay? Ria asked with a worried expression. I am fine. The pain is still endurable for one more time. The magic is incomplete, but I know that I should get used to the movement with the additional effect of the sonic boom first, since I have settled down the problem with the loud sound produced by the sonic boom in the first week. Kai dropped to the ground, falling to his knees before activating his exoskeleton. All right. I will gather a few data and show you my analysis, probably giving you some models of how the sound wave travels when you use that magic by making a model of how the air flows around you. Thank you, that will help me a lot. He nodded before rising on his feet, ready for another shot. While he had made good progress, his teammates had also taken a step forward in their training in EU base, specifically in a garden of a certain mansion. Oi, Evan, have you finished watering the plants? A middle-aged, busty lady shouted while checking the leaves of the current plant in front of him. Her appearance was similar to that of Shirotsuka Sanae, even though she was older than her and a bit younger than her peers. It must be the work of the plants here. I have only done half of it. I need another 15 minutes, Evan replied while keeping up with his work. Can you even do your job? Why are you so slow? She shouted. I am doing my best, just not to kill the plants. Evan sighed. He told her the truth. They both had the same magic, which was water magic. I would have done it 10 times before you even finish. I am trying. Come on. You need to control the basic characteristic of the water and your healing abilities. Evan kept shouting back since this was how she trained him. To master the healing ability, Evan needed to improve his control over his water and its healing character, and one of the fastest ways to improve was to water the plants using that healing water. If he overdid it, the plant would wither because of overdosage. If he lowered the dosage, he would be too slow like the current him. Even so, Evan didn't complain about the whole training because he realized that his healing speed became faster by the day, so this training was worth the efforts. Meanwhile, Sophia also had the same progress as him. She had been training inside her mansion, specifically in her family hall. This training hall had been used for many generations, including her father and grandfather. Inside the hall were 2 people, one standing and one was on their knee. Sophia, obviously the latter, panting, huffed. She took a deep breath and looked at an old man that had gone past his prime. Despite his aged expression and body, she had yet to land a hit on his body for the whole week. What, you want to stop? He narrowed his eyes. I won't. She gritted her teeth. I have been training here for a week without any progress. Even though my movement has become more polished, I can't still touch you yet, so I will be working on this. Make sure you don't pull your punch. Ho ho. In my retirement, my granddaughter suddenly asked me to train her, so I couldn't help but go here. I heard that you wanted to become stronger because of a man. You know how to rile me up, right? He smirked evilly, as if he wanted to do many evil things to both her and the man. How is he compared to me in combat skill? She thought for a moment and asked him first. How do you compare to the strongest person in the US base? Are you talking about their S-rank magicians or that lunatic Rhea Ross? His teacher, of course. Don't tell me you haven't followed any news. I have been fishing in the countryside, so I don't know. I only learned that you visited the US base when I was on the way here. It's Rhea Ross. Oh, interesting, he smirked. I myself am an S rank, but that woman can become undefeated despite being an A rank. Her skill and thinking are unique to the point we have trouble. If I compare myself to her, it will be 6-4. She wins. Then he can at least win 2 times against you, and he is training to be an equal of his teacher that is growing even more. If I don't have strength, he won't look at me. This is both for me and the base. Oh. His smile became wider as crack appeared below his feet before it turned into a crater. The pressure, killing intent, and battle instinct emanated from his body. It sent a shiver to her body as she realized why her grandfather could be considered one of the strongest magicians in this base. I would love to see him. You will have the chance in a few months. She gritted her teeth and endured the pressure. But now, you better not lose against your granddaughter first unless you want to be bullied by him. Since that is the case, I will start my offensive too from now on and hit you for real. Every time you lose, I will spank you 100 times. Be prepared for it, he smirked. Are you going to kill me? Nope, those are slaps of love. If you do it every single day, humans can change and have a small evolution. You will have big butts after this, and I hear man love that, including me. Hyayaho. He laughed before disappearing from her vision as the battle had begun again. Chapter 345. Doubt. Unlike the 3 of them, the other 3 didn't have that kind of peaceful training. In the Graham family's mansion, specifically Michelle's room, the girl was lying flat on the ground. Her eyes were fuzzy and unfocused. Water that she drank earlier flowed out of her mouth. She panted and started rolling on the ground. Her expression was distorted, as though she was enduring pain all over her body. No one realized her current state because she had forbidden everyone from entering her room. The fuzzy memory of her past where she first met Kai appeared in her mind, giving her additional strength. She closed her eyes for a moment and clenched her teeth, enduring this. I can't be the weakest one. Her eyes regained their focus and she took a deep breath. Even with her eyes letting out tears or her body and forehead were covered with sweat, she endured everything. At the same time, she wasn't the only one to have ridiculous progress like that. Ayaka and Tasha had gone together to the battlefield, creating a 2-person group. They were on top of the hill, facing 1,000 magical beasts that were storming from below. Tasha, what do you think about this? You and I are rivals in the last competition, so I guess we could make a small bet in this situation. She smiled while drawing her bow. I don't mind, but you must have used your sealing magic in that competition, right? If not, you wouldn't be able to win, she smirked. Are you going to use it again? There is only you and me here, so I guess I can do it. I will take care of this side, and you take care of the other side. We will see who kills more. Instead of a win-win situation, we will lose if the magical beasts manage to reach the top. It means the competition is annulled, and we need to have a punishment agreed by both of us. What do you think? I'm fired up. And don't forget the most important rule that Kai would say at this moment. Ayaka smiled while glancing at her. Tasha also smiled with her back touching Ayaka's. Both of them thought and said the same thing. The one who gets heavily injured will be disqualified. Ayaka immediately disappeared while Tasha released her arrows. The training continued for another week. In Rhea Ross's house, Kai was rubbing his belly. I don't know why, but when I failed, it would go to my stomach most of the time. Kai sighed, feeling a bit sick. Here, take a look at this. Rhea waved her hand, calling him to see the screen she was looking at. Kai nodded and approached her, finding a 3D model along with the airflow. She then played the model and gave Kai the reason why it would always hit the stomach. The 3D figure hit the ground again, and the sound wave dispersed. However, the majority of the sound wave was accumulated on top of the sword because of how it was directed. It then flowed on top of his sword before reaching his stomach. This is what happened. Because you are swinging your sword, the residual sound wave and air will flow to the back of your sword and, in this case, upward. From what I know, with how fast the sword is, the air flows around your sword first, before going in all directions. Unfortunately, Before it can disperse, it meets his body first. So yeah, that's the reason. She shrugged. It's quite painful even with the exoskeleton, you know. Still, the one that has the most brutal impact is the one that your sword hits. In other words, the ground. After all, the reason why this air can flow like this is mostly due to the sword hitting the ground. Either way, if you can control the sonic boom direction and your sword, I think you will be able to deal huge damage to the protector's hard skin. Kai stroked his chin and looked down, falling into deep thought. What if it hits a person? I don't dare to use something this dangerous if I don't have enough mastery to wield it perfectly. After all, the most regrettable thing I can do right now is friendly fire. I agree, she nodded in agreement. However, you must work a bit harder. She smiled. I know I have already gotten the gist of it. If possible, I want to control it perfectly within 2 to 3 weeks. After that, we are going to fight. Kai smirked. I have already understood this technique though. She looked at him. It's fine. Whatever the result, I will try to do whatever I can within a month of fighting you. After that, I would like to work on my strategy and other things. Actually, I have one plan for you. What is it? Are you going to send me to the battlefield? He asked with an expectant look. Nope. There are 2 possibilities to erase the weakness of your zodiac blood. She raised 2 fingers while smiling. The first thing is to erase it with medicine that I have been working on. It is going to be finished within 1 week or 2. I can inject you with the medicine, and you can use your animal instinct for a long time without experiencing the backlash. I see. That is great. If I can use that instinct, I can increase my reaction speed by 30%. Kai nodded. What is the second one? This one has a difficulty on another level. To put it simply, I can use the medicine to stimulate that blood of yours and use that as a catalyst so you can control it perfectly. In other words, this won't give you only the advantage coming from instinct. You will get much more, such as an increase of speed and strength, like how a lion fights. She smirked. This one is a bit risky. How risky is it? Kai asked. For the current you, I think around 65% to 75%. If you understand what is coming toward you, I believe we can increase it to 80 to 90%, depending on your control over your magic and pain. Kai furrowed his eyebrows. If it has that high success rate, then I don't think teacher needs to ask me, right? I know that you will choose the second option. Even so, I want you to know first. She shrugged. The enemies in the future aren't half-baked opponents like humans. Instead, they are monsters that have been living for several thousand years to 100,000 years. If I don't use any opportunity, I won't be able to protect my family from them. Kai clenched his fist and looked at Rhea with a serious expression. I know your concern, but there is one more important thing you need to do. She looked at him. Are you talking about the archaeological sites? Yeah. We need to discover what kind of beings the protectors are. Even though they are saying they only want to maintain the balance, I feel that's not all. After all, there are many things that break that goal of theirs. No, I should say they kill people in the name of their goal without any reasoning. She narrowed her eyes. Teacher. Kai suddenly remembered something. What will humans do when there isn't a single magical beast anymore on Earth? Are we going to be a vegetarian? Interesting question. There are not many people who have that question in their head because of the imminent threat the magical beasts give them. I believe this is what they mean about Earth's cry. Like how we have exhausted many resources and let many animals extinct in the past, there would be a time where the Earth lost its food and water source. What will happen at that time? He asked. Probably outer space exploration. We are indeed having trouble facing the magical beasts right now. However, I believe in 100 to 200 years, the humans will be able to turn this situation around. She thought for a moment before continuing. This base will take over Canada and Alaska completely. The EU base and United Asia will restore Russia, China, and nearby countries. When the time comes, our population should have grown as well, and the humans can start doing another plan like space exploration. Is that even possible? I don't mean to brag, but take a look at me. I am a genius that can do many things. There are many more geniuses that will appear from now on. If we are directed some resources to that area, the possibility is there, especially with this new source called magic. We might be able to do something more than what the people of the past could do. I see. Well, we won't be the one to see it. She smiled. If the humans go extinct because they have exhausted this world's resource, that's their own choice. Whether to explore the planets nearby, they can choose to take their own lives like this. Either way, we won't be there to witness it. Yeah, I might have thought it too much. He let out a long sigh. I just feel that there is something we need to know about these protectors. Their secret must be very important to us, and the entire humanity. I will do my best, but I will say no to a suicide mission. After all, my family is more important than this base. Fair enough. However, you need to remember that a suicide mission is a subjective opinion. If you don't have strength, you will think an easy mission is a suicide mission. If you have overwhelming strength, you will think of an easy mission as a boring mission. That's why you need to get stronger as soon as possible. I will go back to my training then. Kai nodded. Chapter 346. Subconsciousness. Are you sure to go through this now? She asked once again while looking at Kai, who was lying on a mattress for an operation. Next to him was a blood bag and one bag filled with yellow liquid. This was the operation room where Rhea transfused the Zodiac blood into Ayaka's body. This is a perfect time. After 2 weeks, I have mastered the new magic and taken another week to calm myself down for this operation. I feel I am at my peak, so this will be the perfect time to face my weakness and control it. Kai nodded with a serious expression. Still, teacher, I know you are worried about me, but there was another reason for this. With a little less than 2 months, I could use the first 1 or 2 weeks to control this new strength. I am sure that my strength will increase by leaps and bounds since you are the one doing it. As soon as I have perfect control, I will challenge you. We can use the spare time for me to learn the strategies and tactics under you, he assured her with a gentle smile. She let out a long sigh before grabbing the blood bag. Hanging the blood bag, she explained everything first. The medicine will be stimulating the blood inside your body. I have speculated that you will become a lion itself. A lion, like the failed Zodiacs. No, it's only in your subconscious level. In other words, you will feel the shock for a period of time that might reduce you to a coma. To gain strength, you need to know the source first. That's why you will need to understand the lion inside you. Of course, the technology I have here will teleport your consciousness to your subconsciousness where you can meet the lion. But do pay attention to one thing. I don't have the ability to help you when you enter your subconsciousness. Unless you wake up by yourself, I will just damage your brain if I force you out to the point you will face brain dead. That's why you need to handle everything without my help, and I can't give you any information about what you can do or not. There is no guideline to that as well. Anyway, I can only say good luck to you. Thanks. Don't worry. You said the success rate is high, right? Kai smiled. I am not worried, so you should support me as well. All right. She sighed and finally took the medicine bag, hanging it so the fluid could flow into his body. Are you ready? You will need to endure pain when the medicine stimulates the blood. Yes. Kai nodded with a serious expression. She then let the medicine flow down the small hose before entering his body. When it came into contact with his blood, specifically his lion blood, the medicine caused a certain reaction, as if someone came to his body and made a mess out of it. The blood became agitated, as if trying to fight the medicine. However, only due to this process could the blood wake up completely and start their circulation all over his body. Ah! Kai screamed out of pain. He never expected that the stimulation from the blood felt like nails impaling every single spot on his body. Grabbing the railing on the side of the bed, he crushed them with his grips alone. Rhea understood the pain well and shouted, "Don't give up. It will only be for a few minutes. You have endured the pain when becoming a Zodiac. You can do it again." Arg. Kai continued screaming for several minutes before a ding sound rang on his brain instead of his ears. It jolted his entire body, especially his brain. His consciousness became blank before it was shrouded by darkness, and Kai finally went into a coma. Rhea Ross grabbed his hand and placed it on her cheek. If in the past I could send you with a smile like a psychopath, I can't do it now. The emptiness in my heart has been filled by you this whole time. You gave me the meaning to live on, so you should succeed as well. Tears gradually formed on the corner of her eyes before they flowed down uncontrollably. She clenched Kai's hand even harder and said, "Please, no matter how high the success rate is, I still don't want you to take that risk." There was one thing that she never told Kai. It was written on the document she had this whole time. There was a sentence saying, up to 90 of success, 5 of losing the consciousness, and 5 of integration with the animal. What she didn't want was Kai turning into a magical beast. Losing consciousness was just like a coma. There was still a chance for him to wake up in the future. However, when he integrated with the animal and turned a part of his body into an animal, she would need to kill him. That was how she had been doing things this whole time. And there was this promise, where Kai preferred to see the others sad for a few years than their whole life, just because they had no human children. Even if they said they accepted them, there would be rejection on a subconscious level that thought of it as disgusting. She feared that the most, so she was a bit weak on this matter despite the belief of Kai succeeding. Kai, on the other hand, was falling into his subconsciousness as if he was falling down at low speed. What is this? Where am I? Why can't I open my eyes? Why am I falling like there is no gravity here? Many questions appeared in his mind as he tried to move his body, but to no avail. In the end, he chose to rely on his ears, albeit the result was practically the same or even worse. He couldn't hear a single noise in this, as if there was nothing existing in this place. For him, who had grown up with noises echoing in his ears every single second, this emptiness completely baffled him. The anxiousness grew inside his heart as he felt something was wrong. I need to do something, but I don't have any clue. Teacher told me that she didn't know what would happen and what I would encounter in my subconsciousness, so what should I do? Is this what it feels when you're in a coma? You can't hear and do anything, only thinking like this for a long time. No wonder there is a huge difference between before and after coma, Kai thought. While thinking about all the useless things that appeared in his head, he gradually felt that his body fell slower. Not long after that, he felt his back touching something. He then regained his ability to move, albeit slowly, like moving on the moon. He slowly opened his eyes and prepared for anything he needed to face. What he found was nothing but blank space. Everything he could see was black with some bright spots around him. This looks like I am in outer space. It's dark, but the stars are shining. What should I do here? Kai muttered, and looked around while checking his body. There is nothing wrong with my body. It's the same specs like when I went into the simulation room using the training tube. Should I explore a bit? Even though he wanted to explore, he didn't know what to do. Looking at his feet, he found that he was stepping into nothingness. There was only empty space there. But it felt like there was a solid platform supporting his feet, so he didn't fall anymore. Still, I can't believe what I see in my subconsciousness. Teacher said that this technology was similar to that of a training tube that sent one's consciousness to the virtual world. However, she tweaked it a little bit to change the virtual world into my subconsciousness. I never expected there would be something like this in my mind. Wait, did my teacher just achieve a scientific breakthrough with just this research? No, how would she know there was a space like this inside me? Did she test it on herself first before using it on me? Kai's face turned pale, feeling helpless. It seems no matter how hard I tried to repay all her kindness, it wouldn't be enough. Kai closed his eyes and smiled. If there is another life, I would love to be your biological son. Thinking like this, something jolted his mind, as if there was someone calling him. He looked around, only to find nothing. However, he didn't give up and shook his head, gathering his resolve once again. I need to focus. I can report and talk about everything to my teacher later. It's not like she wants another achievement like this, since the government will just take it from her hand once more. That's why I will gather all the information here first, and tell only her, not anyone else, even the girls. With that resolve in mind, he stepped forward according to his feelings. He headed straight to the emptiness. After walking for a few minutes, an altar suddenly filled his vision. The platform itself was quite big, around 4 times the size of a king-sized bed. The white pillar surrounding him looked majestic, but that was all. He carefully approached the altar and found the lion there. To his surprise, instead of what he thought of a normal lion or a mutated one, the one he found was entirely different. It had a normal yellow and cream color body, but he didn't find any fur around its head. But everything seemed normal until he saw 2 fangs sticking out of his mouth. The fangs were long and reached the bottom part of its mouth. When it sensed Kai's presence, It gradually opened its eyes and turned its head around, finding Kai in his vision. Chapter 347. The Bridge. Their eyes intertwined. Kai's body shook as he immediately leaped backward, trying to create a distance. This tiger is a bad deal. This was the first thought that appeared in his mind when he gazed at the lion's eyes. A human. The lion suddenly spoke like a human. That question jolted his mind. Due to the inability to summon his sword, he could only raise his defensive stance, preparing himself for any type of attack before asking, "Who are you? Why can you speak a human language? Are you a protector? Why are you not scientifically correct? It's been 200,000 years since I last lived. Unfortunately, I had enormous power that went through the blood of my children, sucking my own consciousness and splitting them into their own bodies when I died. Still, I never expected to see a human having my blood in your vein." Kai's body shook and immediately shook his head. "I didn't have this blood naturally. To save my life, my teacher injected this blood to bring me back from the death door." "So, you mean you killed my brethren and used their blood?" The lion slowly raised on his feet before roaring loudly, sending a shockwave toward Kai. Kai raised his hand, stopping the shockwave from going to his eyes. His eyes were still locked on the lion, afraid to take it away because it might be the end of him. "Are you aware of what happened outside?" "Outside? Now you mention it, I can't really see what happened outside anymore. This only happened for the last 15 years. Are you?" "Yes. A few years later was when my teacher injected the blood into my body." Kai nodded with a serious expression. "I don't know if I am your enemy or not, but haven't you realized the world's situation? I am sure you have noticed it, right? Especially since you are an intelligent being." The lion narrowed its eyes, glaring at Kai for a few minutes before sitting again. "So, what are you doing here?" "I am here to control the blood. In other words, the power comes from the blood. Maybe we can say it's your power. I am not very sure because I don't have knowledge about this." Kai paused for a moment. "I also don't know whether I am your enemy or not, but if we can talk, that's better." The lion closed its eyes before opening them again. "You can consider me as a protector of the earth. When I lived my life to the fullest, I protected the earth from getting sullied. I have integrated this 200,000 years worth of knowledge into one single entity, which is me, thus allowing me to talk in your language." Kai suddenly remembered something that he might have to pique the interest of the opposite party. "Can you hear the earth's cry?" "You? How do you know that question?" The lion narrowed its eyes. He started observing him with interest this time, instead of staring without any expectation. "I have a pair of special ears." "I see. So, you are the key." "The key? The key?" Kai was taken aback when he learned another term for his existence. "You don't even know who you are." The lion snorted as if mocking him. "I just knew this not long ago." Kai shook his head, not thinking about the insult. That is interesting." The lion smiled. "Since I have died and don't have any attachment to this planet anymore, do you want to know about your existence? I have witnessed every single era during the past 200,000 years. I wish to know, but I can't really trust you. You are frank, huh? Never mind. I was living like you and ruled the whole continent in the past. Anyway, I will be talking about this. Whether you think I am lying or not, it's your choice." The lion snorted. "Well, from where should I start?" Kai didn't talk back this time, waiting for him to explain since he was quite interested as well. No matter if it was a lie or not, he should be able to grasp what happened in the past. After a while, the lion gathered its thoughts and started explaining. "I will talk about what I mean about the key first. What do you think of the purpose of your ears, or do you think it serves no purpose?" "It's for me to listen to my surroundings. It's just like normal ears, but with more enhanced features. That's why humans are still primitive to this day." "You haven't understood anything." "What do you mean?" Kai furrowed his eyebrows, never expecting that the lion called humans primitive humans should be the most futuristic beings compared to any other animals that had lived on Earth. "Since you are a fool, I will just tell you with your simple word, so even a fool like you can understand. Your ears have a purpose. It's a bridge that connects humans with all other beings. Unfortunately, not many could withstand that burden and died right after they were born. Those who didn't die became the key. This is the reason why I talk about this with you. Maybe it's a kind of fate as well. Anyway, I will explain everything from the beginning, so you, the key, can choose whether to open the Pandora box or not. Why did I say bridge? It's simple. You need to understand what we are saying among us, deciphering one at a time during your life. You, as the bridge, will choose. What will you become in the future? A broken bridge, an unfinished bridge, or any other types of bridge? If you want to be a complete bridge, you should start deciphering our language. We can understand your words, but you can't understand our words. This is why I called humans primitive beings. I do admit humans are kind of smart, but they are too arrogant. They never pay attention to any other beings other than their own kin. If you learn our language, you will know there is always a meaning, why we exist. Anyway, that's my first piece of advice for you. Try to decipher our language like how you humans created your own language. You were not the first key, so I believe someone out there has deciphered some languages. Still, I didn't recommend you to publicize that you had understood our language. There may be someone who is observing the key, thinking whether they should remove the key or not. After all, the moment the bridge was completed, he would be the strongest person on this planet, capable of ruling every single being in this place. The protectors, including me, needed to maintain that balance, not letting one species rule completely over another. When we see either this or the bridge will soon be completed, we will call the calamity to descend to Earth, resetting everything. When Kai heard this, he had numerous questions, but only one could come out of his mouth. Why did you advise me to learn the language then? I said it earlier. I have died and have no attachment to my duty, so I want to see what kind of fate my suggestion will lead the world. You are telling me to die. Kai widened his eyes. Do I need to remind you, human, I am not your friend nor your parent. In fact, you are the killer of my descendant. Do you think I will suggest the future where you can say happily ever after? Either way, there is no key that won't be used. He indirectly told Kai that he had no option other than going through all these problems. Whether he could emerge as a winner or not, it would be on his ability. And if humans are moving like how I predicted them to be, they will soon meet another calamity. The lion smiled. Kai instantly understood what he meant. The protectors won't do it unless a race rules every single being on this planet. In that case, if the humans keep going in this direction, there is a chance that they are able to kill all other beings. In that case, the protectors will once again reset it. Don't say about going to another planet. It will be either we can survive through that or not. Kai gasped and pinched the bridge of his nose. You seem to be smarter than my expectation. The lion looked at Kai. Well, if the key is not smart, you will only be thrown away. That's that. Your fate has been decided from the start. Even so, my end goal is not decided. Kai stopped him with a stern voice. Oh, I like your way of thinking. Then, I will tell you this one clue. You should know there are many civilizations erased mysteriously, right? They thought like you and went toward their own destruction. When the key appeared and became useless, the protectors controlled the key once more. That was why those people must have learned something about the protectors and our languages. You hold the biggest key to this planet right now. If you seek knowledge about it, you better go to those people and understand the languages. It's when the protectors will take you seriously. I will be targeted then. Not really. You won't immediately become targeted. I should say this first. Every single race on this planet holds one altar. I, the representative of the lion race, once had an altar. If I sacrificed myself on that altar, I would release a massive catastrophe. But humans don't have an altar. Kai narrowed his eyes. No, you are wrong. Humans indeed had it, but they lost it. I didn't know when too, since I had died when it happened. Do you think I know everything? The lion snorted, looking at how Kai fell silent. He chose to add another intriguing question. What do you think the catastrophe is? That is, Chapter 348, The Real Identity of a Protector. I want to ask you first, do you know anything about your power? What power? Kai tilted his head in confusion. He wanted to think it was his ears, but the lion seemed to mention a different thing, the power that you use to fight back, including killing my descendants. Do you mean magic? Kai furrowed his eyebrows and looked down for a minute. What? You still haven't deciphered it. The lion looked down on the humans once again. You humans suck. Then you know about it. Kai narrowed his eyes. Of course. Do you think, why can you even use something like that? He smiled. No, using your terms, I should ask it this way. What form do you think magic is? Form. Kai was baffled when the lion gave him this question. Now that he thought about it, he actually never understood anything about magic. The public described it as something beyond science. Even though they had been deciphering them with the science, they still hadn't had a major breakthrough to its identity. They only managed to create a certain wavelength to use magic. It was a kind of evolution that couldn't be explained in wavelengths. Still, if he needed to choose whether magic was solid, liquid, or gas, the answer was certain. It's gas. Nope. The lion shook his head before smiling. It's solid. Solid. Kai widened his eyes. It was easy to see how shocked he was. Solid. But I am sure the scientists have gone through a series of research about this. No. If it's a solid form, they should have seen it inside a microscope. His knowledge in this area was a bit lacking, so he had no way to understand it. And the lion seemed to want to continue, so he fell silent, waiting for an explanation. This is why you, the key, should learn one or two of our languages. You can ask them what the form of magic is, and they will answer with solid. Unlike you, we have seen it with our own eyes. The lion smiled. Unless you have a special occurrence, it's almost impossible to see it in a solid form. However, the magic you can feel is absolutely solid. I guarantee it with my name, solid. Kai pinched the bridge of his nose. Teacher should understand this better than I do, but she can't enter here. Anyway, I have almost sidetracked to this. Now that you know the form of magic, it will be easier to explain the catastrophe. Well, unlike you humans, the most primitive beings on this planet, who can only think about their greed, we actually desire to live in peace, staying inside our territory without any troubles. However, you human claims that you want to rule the whole world and use us as nothing but livestock or enjoyment. Knowing that the humans have gone out of control, someone decided to sacrifice Hisha life to bring the calamity. If you happened to be there, you would see the concentrated form of magic at the size of your head, and that would explode into pieces. I don't know how much, but it can fuel the world with magic for hundreds of years. What? The size of my head, and can disperse to the whole world and supply the world with magic for hundreds of years. Kai's body shook as a thought came into his mind. If that is the case, magic must be very small particles, far smaller than atoms or molecules. Wait, now that you mention it, don't tell me. You seem to have realized something. Why did we hear it? I am curious as to how your brain works. Entertain me well, human. I might give you more information as your reward. Kai thought for a moment and shook his head, overpraised. I only thought about the evolution theory. Normally, we will evolve because we have been influenced by something physical. If we never walk for hundreds of years, if not thousands, we will lose our legs. That's why giraffes have long necks, and we humans derived from monkeys. Anyway, this magic particle should be influencing us and finally make us evolve with this concept. Due to how forced it was back then, the evolution only came on the newborn baby. The particles stuck in their body and allowed them to use magic. But truthfully, this magic is something that comes and goes in our body. The reason we have different amounts of magic power is due to how strong our bodies can attract the particles. That's also why I have this hearing. Not only that, if I use this information to look at the world from a different perspective, I can see that this magic is something that is temporary. In other words, it's like oil and gas. They can be exhausted. Kai gasped at what he had found. It even piqued the interest of the lion, and he praised him. You are more interesting than I expected. Since I have promised to give you something, I will add this information. The protectors you know might not be a protector. Kai was baffled by the statement. He had seen many protectors, especially those coming from the sea, so he couldn't comprehend what he said. The protectors might not be a protector. Do you think anyone can become a protector? The lion narrowed its eyes. What do you think is the requirement to become a protector? Kai thought for a moment. Magic power. That's one. What else? Language. That's two. Next. My ears? Nope. He shook his head. It's the ability to converse with another race. Only one can become a protector for a whole race. And one of them is standing in front of me. Me! Kai pointed at himself with a dumbfounded look. Of course, how could he not be shocked? He hated the protector to the bone, so he never expected him to be the one. But I am just a key, no. Yes and no. I use the term key just to make sure you know how important you are to your race. If it's identity, you are a protector of the human race. There are a few requirements that one can be said to be a protector. First, they need magic power far higher than anyone else. That will open your identity as the key, since you can start learning the language of other races with those ears. After all, you can normally hear what you usually can't. Second, it's language. You need to learn at least 10 languages before becoming a bona fide protector. This can be useful for negotiation and any other things, just like how you humans use words to be the basic conversations. Third is to stand at the top of the race. No one is born strong. Even I, who was once a protector, was born as a weak child. I climbed my way to the top and became the protector that could decide the fate of the entire race. Speak can convince the masses, but power can force them. It might not work for everyone, but the majority will follow you. That's the 3 requirements. Of course, there is an in-depth explanation, but I will give you the basic information about it. The first requirement is a must. If you don't have that magic power and ears, no matter how strong you are, you won't become a protector. As for the language, you should know that when you enter someone's territory, you act like you are a native person there. It's the highest respect you can show to other races. In fact, we, not human beings, have been able to understand your race's language. Even though it's only for a protector like me, it still shows how you are still a primitive race. Last but not least, power. This is the most important thing. However, you are such a waste in this area. No, you humans really suck. Instead of exploring the true power, you focus on exploring how to exploit this power. If I don't call you idiots, what should I call you? The lion snorted. Kai simply lost his words. With just these 3 simple requirements, he suddenly had a deep insight into the whole thing. Since you said there is only one person that will become a protector, it means there will only be one person that has this pair of ears. But since you said that the civilizations in the past actually had one, you must mean in terms of generations. Every generation should have one protector. Language is the same. When we are aware of other languages, we can actually decipher them. Like how a baby learns their language from their parents, we should understand what they are doing. In that case, the magical beasts who have been staying together in the wilds must have learned each other's languages easily. Although we can't completely speak in their language, it's enough to understand what they say. As for the last one, you said we are busy searching about how to exploit magic instead of learning the true power. Are you talking about how the magical beasts can become stronger? That is why I can see the so-called protectors that I have met this whole time are stronger than me. It's not that they are naturally stronger, but they actually practice to get stronger. This is why I prefer to talk with a protector instead of normal ones. They are too dumb to understand my words, unlike you. He shrugged. To answer your question, I will use this example. If you are a kid, your strength is low. As you grow older, you will get more power. However, if you train your body, you will become stronger than the one who is not. Kai facepalmed, finally understanding the real problem. How can I get stronger? Don't ask me. Ask your ancestor, since we have a different method. The lion snorted. Chapter 34:9. Zukai furrowed his eyebrows. In that case, it seems I really need to search for a clue in the past civilizations. Anyway, I have now learned why there are only a few S-rank magical beasts. They're just a few steps away from becoming a protector, because they are the best in their race. However, it means there will be a chance that another S-rank magical beast will appear. This is something ridiculous to believe, but we need to take precaution against it. I don't know your terms, so I don't understand what you are saying. He shrugged. It's just our terms. Kai chose not to explain it because it would be too boring to talk about it. Oh, there is one thing that I almost forgot. Becoming a protector means you have more powerful energy in your body, giving you a higher lifespan than the rest. Depending on the races, they can even stay alive for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. I myself only have 1,000 years to live before everything becomes too boring. I think you are even less. Well, I can only say, good luck to you. That's true. Humans have 100 years to live normally after the calamity. It looks like we don't have enough time. But on the other hand, the boredom will strike when we have a very long lifespan. It's not like I want to stay in this world for a long time either. Besides, there will be a new generation of protectors when I die, so it doesn't sound that bad. Kai shrugged. Well, I remember something. The lion furrowed its eyebrows. What is it? You might want to watch out against the radical races. They want another protector's life because it will increase their chance to conquer the world. And if you side with them, they might use you as a sacrifice to supply the thing you called magic for this world. Anyway, the fewer people know about this, the better. Oh, are you worried about me? Kai smirked. Nope, you can go die for all I care. I just don't want the world destroyed. You don't know the fact that the magic power extracted from the sacrifice is also a ticking bomb that can partially destroy the world. If you have a few of them, the world will be destroyed. True enough. One person's life can supply the earth for hundreds of years, and other races might treat you differently when you, who were clueless regarding your own identity, suddenly acted like you are aware. They might probably target you. Kai nodded. I will remember this for the rest of my life. I can't afford to show everything at the moment because I am still far too powerless. I agree with that. You suck. Humanity sucks. The lion didn't forget to fulfill the quota of him talking trash to Kai. Yeah. I heard it a few times from your mouth. I only see it as a motivation and become someone who is respected by other races. Only at that time can I safely protect humans. You do what you need to do. Kai nodded, planning to leave so he could practice the new strength. The lion seemed to remember something and asked, So, what do you want here originally? I almost forgot my initial objective. Kai sighed and shook his head in disappointment. What I want by coming here is to learn using the power of this blood. It has boosted my strength and sharpened my instinct, so I would like to use it to the utmost limit. That is impossible. If you are trying to use my power to the utmost limit, you need pure blood of mine. The only thing you can now is just using a low percentage of it. Maybe 1 or 2% of my real power. The lion shrugged. Ho! Kai narrowed his eyes. You think I can learn your power? It's simply because of the blood. You must have experienced where you lost yourself when using this. Yes, I almost hit my fiancée back then. Kai nodded. Whatever, since you want to use my power, I shall allow you. Don't ask why. I just want to see whether a protector can use two protectors' power. So I let you. Not that I can see it, though. The lion paused for a moment. Anyway, there are a few things you need to know to use my power. I am thankful if you want to teach me. Please tell me the requirements to use your power. It's simple. You should know what the source of my power is. The source of your power. Blood. The lion shook its head. No, idiot. I have been the king of the jungle in the past. As a ruler, I have my own pride. That pride is the driving force of my strength. What? Pride? It's kind of subjective, don't you think? We can't really measure something like that. Kai scratched his head in confusion. You just need to show your pride and confront my blood with power. The winner takes all. Activate the blood in your body, so the blood will take over your body. When the time comes, you need to suppress it with your own power. Do it repeatedly until the blood bows down to you. It's as simple as that. The strong survive. Kai knew that this lion might not be telling the truth, but from what he heard since the start of their conversation, the lion had yet to tell a single lie. That was the feeling he got after seeing through lies from when he was a kid. I understand, I will do that. He nodded. There is one more thing that you need to know with my power. Unlike the other protectors, my power only lies on two things: the roar of the king and my physical strength. That's all I needed in the past. A single sweep of mine could even create a lake. So even if you could only use a small portion of it, you should be fine. especially since you have powerful magic. The lion suddenly stood up and released an immeasurable pressure, pushing Kai to the ground. Not stopped from there, he felt killing intent and fighting intent covering his body. However, there was one more thing that he felt, albeit indescribable. It was mysterious, and Kai couldn't grasp what it was. Looking at Kai's expression, the lion retracted his aura and sat again. "Thank you for teaching me that." Kai bowed his head before asking, "By the way, is that roar of the king? You need to learn about it yourself." The lion shrugged. Kai thought for a moment and nodded. "I think I can't really return to this place. I don't want your company. My previous strengths should have been divided into my descendants, so it's not like that much of a problem to be stuck here until you die." Kai fell silent. "I don't know what to say. Do you still have a desire to be alive again?" The lion stared at Kai for a moment before shaking his head. I shouldn't be coming back to the world because I don't have any more space there. Besides, I said it already, I don't have any more attachments. Giving you information and help is only to satiate my boredom. Whatever the case, I am thankful to you. If so, then don't torture my descendants or humiliate them. They are warriors, so if you encounter them, kill them instead. That's the highest honor you can give to our races." Kai nodded with a serious expression. "I will follow your words to the best of my ability." "To the best of your ability." The lion stared at him mysteriously before letting out a long sigh. "Nonetheless, you only have two fates. The first is to participate in the war of conquest, which will lead you to either victory or death. The second will be to rot away without accomplishing anything. In other words, the bridge has stopped its own construction." Hearing this, Kai only smiled and shook his head. "What makes you think that there isn't a fourth option available?" "Huh. What is that? You are not going to say you want to unite every single race together, right? That naivety will consume you. Well, it's not like you are someone like that." "Nope." Kai smiled. "I will be doing this on my way. Well, I don't really care. It's not like you are planning to come back here, or I can see the outside world again, so I have served my purpose. Whatever you do after this is none of my concern. I just want to give you one last piece of advice. Every single protector has a belief. You need to know the other party first before discussing something important with them, unless you want to create an unnecessary war. I am afraid of war, but I don't make war easily, that I can assure you." Kai nodded. "Anyway, I think it's time for me to return. This power of yours will truly help me. Thanks." "Humph. I am just bored, so I want to see something interesting. Since you are done, go away. I will continue my slumber until every single descendant of mine dies." He snorted and returned to his sleep. Kai closed his eyes for a bit, bowed his head, and woke up by using the instinct to jolt his mind like how the lion taught him. Before he disappeared, the lion opened its mouth again. "Human, thank you for coming here and stop my boredom for once." Kai widened his eyes, but he had started to disappear. He smiled and said, "I am Kai Carter, Zug." They couldn't exchange other than their names before Kai disappeared. Chapter 350. Talk. Kai suddenly woke up while shouting, "Wah!" Obviously, Ria was shocked by the sudden outburst and stared at him with a scared expression. Seeing that shocked face made him unable to resist teasing her, since it had been all the way around. He raised both hands and bent his fingers as if trying to use them like claws. Roar! This startled Ria to the point she summoned a sword and swung it toward Kai's head. Kai's face turned pale as he bent his body sideways to avoid it and shouted, "Wait, wait, wait! Are you trying to kill your student?" In that instant, Ria realized Kai was playing a trick on her. She acted as if she didn't believe it and struck him again from above. Kai grabbed the sword with both hands and started sweating. "Wait, teacher. I am sorry, I was just kidding. No, there is no proof that you are my student. You might be the lion that takes over my student's consciousness." Ria smirked. "Now you are talking about something unscientific. What, since you say you are my student, how about we go to the training room and have a round with me?" Kai knew that his teacher actually wanted to beat him up just because he played this trick. He sighed and said, "Well, it's true that what I have seen is pretty unscientific, but let's talk calmly, should we? Unscientific." Ria widened her eyes before finally removing her sword. She sat on the bed and glared at him. Tell me, can't you say something nice? You are very different from the one I met a few days ago. I shouldn't act that sentimental to a student like you who tried to prank his teacher who was worrying about him. She snorted. Sorry, Kai sighed. Anyway, this is something you would like to hear, albeit I am not sure whether to tell you myself because there is a chance that you will tell other people about this. This was the first time she heard this coming from his mouth, so she instantly realized why he said it that way. Her expression turned serious. Don't worry. If you ask me not to tell anyone about this, I won't say anything. Please do. Kai nodded before calming himself down for a few minutes. Don't say I am a narcissist. All right, just tell me. Kai sighed and started his explanations regarding his identity as a newborn protector, the magic particles, and his fates. Ria Ross even wrote everything he said to see the matter better. I see. So, humans are the same as any other species. They have the potential to rule the world, but none of them can. There is a rule that the calamity can only be used when one race has almost governed the entire planet. Yeah. Now that we are talking about this, I suddenly remember. Before the apocalypse, humans weren't really that much of a threat to the whole world, because they might be able to conquer the land and air, but they were unable to do anything underwater. Both Kai and Ria exchanged looks, understanding each other's thoughts as they both realized one thing and said what they thought at the same time. Mankind threatened the sea because they had become capable of exploring the bottom of the ocean. Without saying, that was probably the reason why one of the protectors sacrificed themselves, and this led to another question. So, are you aiming to be a protector? Full-fledged protector? Yes. He said something about my fate. But whatever I do, if I want to control my own fate, I need strength even if it means becoming a protector. Still, you need to know how to cultivate your power, right? Yeah, I don't know how to do it yet, but I am going for a full-scale investigation as soon as this training session finishes. Kai nodded with a serious expression. I see. In that case, you might want to start searching for a way to increase your magic power. No, Kai agreed. However, the only problem I need to face right now is the location. Indeed, most of the regions on Earth have been occupied by magical beasts. Only some of them can be investigated. I already have a few for you, but most of them are around the EU base. If I am not wrong, there is an ancient civilization in Peru. She thought for a moment and asked, Do you mean Corral? I forget its name, but it was quite a large settlement in the past. Yeah, you are talking about Corral. Well, I am not sure about this one, but I guess you can go. She nodded with a serious expression. There are no activities there, so I don't think it will be useful for you. It's better to check it first, because this one might be the same case like the one in Easter Island. Well, there is that possibility. If you are so adamant about it, you can go. However, I will assign a separate mission for you. That means the exploration becomes a secondary mission, yes. I understand, just don't make it too far from that location. Wait a minute, I have another idea. Why don't you ask that stone on Easter Island? Isn't this easier? He said he wouldn't help me more than that, so I felt like it would be a waste of time. Kai shook his head. It's better to try, right? Besides, you can use the teleportation magic to head there. She shrugged. Well, true enough. After that mission, I will try to visit him, probably alone. You don't want the others to know about your identity, huh? Yes, especially Sophia. I feel bad about her, but it's better this way. As for Evan, he won't be with me forever, so he shouldn't know as well. I will only tell the girls, but at a later date. I can't afford anyone to know about me being a protector for the time being, including the president of the US base. Kai looked at her with a serious expression. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Besides, I can see those high-ranking people trying to manipulate you because of this identity. That's why I am not going to let them. She smiled, assuring him, Thanks. For now, you are the only one who knows about this secret. After all, you are the only one I can trust that coincidentally is strong enough to know about this secret. Thank you for trusting your teacher. Ria patted his head with a gentle smile. She didn't mention anything about the method to increase the magic power because she had no use for it. As long as Kai could get stronger, even if it meant she became the weakest person on Earth, she would gladly accept it. Still, don't you want to research the magic particles? Now you know its form, wouldn't this become easier for you? Rhea scratched the back of her head before letting out a long sigh. You haven't realized this, huh? Well, knowing that you are not very well versed in this area, it can't be helped. You should know that we have a virus and such, right? Yeah? They are very small and need a special microscope to find them. And do you know what I am using now? She asked. Kai shook his head. It's 1,000 times stronger than that one. It can be said to be the most powerful one that is on Earth. She paused and asked, do you know what that means? You can't find that. Even the most powerful light-focusing microscopes can't visualize single atoms, so I feel this magic particle is close to this one. She thought for a moment. Just use this as a comparison. Think about how a ball as big as your head can power up the whole planet for hundreds of years. How much energy do you think contained in that? Kai fell silent as he could imagine it. If such a thing exploded on Earth, there was a possibility that Earth wouldn't be round anymore. That's why it's not possible to research that. However, I can work on the microscope. Albeit, I don't have a vision of me actually succeeding in this project. In that case, I take back my words. It's better for mankind to not know about this. Kai shook his head, stopping her instead. Why? If you say it contains a powerful energy, there is a chance that mankind will use that energy ball to do something dangerous. Kai's face turned serious. As he said that, Rhea could imagine humans made a spaceship using that energy ball to power up the whole thing. When it comes to that stage, they will, without a doubt, sacrifice their own protector. What a foolish race we are. Yeah, maybe that's why he called us a primitive race. Kai shrugged. Anyway, what are you going to do now? There is still time to continue your training. I will be training to use the power of my blood first. To that end, I need an empty room so that I can stay calm. I have one. It's the place where I am training. All right, I will use that room. Kai nodded. Do you have any more questions about this? Nope. A huge burden just got placed on your shoulder, so you should fix that problem first. I will be working on the medicine for Ayaka and the others first. If your method is successful, I will give it to them. Thank you, teacher. No, I should be thanking you. I have more things to experience and learn for. She smiled, feeling pretty fired up. That's good then. Let's fight when I have mastered this power. Kai slowly rose from the bed and followed Rhea, who guided him to the training room. Chapter 31. Challenging the Blood. This is where you will be training. She opened the door of the last room that Kai never went to. It was a completely white room without anything inside. What is this room? I never opened this one because you sealed it this whole time, Kai asked. It's an isolation room and stress reliever, she shrugged. Stress reliever. Don't you feel even more stressed in this place? Kai tilted his head in confusion. He had heard many things about the White Room, like how one isolated themselves in a room like this, only to find himself slowly becoming crazy due to boredom. I mean, I often buy a few things that I can break and destroy everything here. I am sure sometimes you have a day where you feel like you want to destroy something just to release the feeling in your heart. This is the room's purpose. She shrugged. What do you think, that your teacher never got any stress? Nope. I often felt it, and I always asked the girls to stay away from me. Right, it's me time. Fortunately, they understood me and didn't say anything. He smiled as if recalling those scenes. Of course, when they needed time like that, I would wait for them. Well, she stretched her hands. This is the room. You can train here until you are satisfied. I will be monitoring you from the camera to make sure nothing happens. All right. Kai nodded with a solemn expression. He would be fighting with the blood power, so he understood that something might go wrong. And what about your food? I can order them online and place them in front of the door. Or do you want me to bring it inside? She asked. Please put it in front of the door. I feel I will be able to keep my head calm if I eat together like usual. Kai felt a bit guilty since Rhea always had a smile on her face when they were together. Even though it didn't seem that big, it certainly felt warm. Don't worry about me. As if she understood Kai's feelings, she patted his head. Just complete your training as fast as possible. After that, we shall fight. I wonder what kind of power you will have after this. Yeah, that's a deal. You should prepare yourself to lose, Kai smirked, taunting her. Hee hee, kiddo. I have all your training footage. I can learn your new skill and make a counter for it. Don't think that your teacher is a pushover. she snorted. Haha, we will see that after this. And I think we can use the last week to learn about tactics. Sure, we have enough time for that unless this training takes too much time. She nodded. I will be teaching you about normal tactics, guerrilla warfare, defensive battles, and natural fortress. I am looking forward to it. Those tactics will be useful for me in the future, especially since there is a chance that a war will break out, a war against the protectors. No, what should I call them now? I am not sure. It's not like the others know about this, so we shouldn't change the terms for now and just call them protectors. Kai nodded. Besides, it's very unscientific to meet the soul of a 200,000 years old lion inside my body. True enough. However, I believe because it has superior DNA and powerful strength due to the magic particles, its consciousness can stay inside the blood. Well, we need to have you reach his level to prove my theory, she smiled. Are you ready to take the first step towards becoming a protector? Yes, I do. Then, war is indeed necessary. I mean, it was not our fault since they attacked us first. I don't know for sure. It was true that for me, they attacked me first. Even though it was unintentional, it became something big. As for what happened in the past, I didn't know since I had yet to research it. Kai shrugged. They indeed attacked us first, but we didn't know their reason, she confirmed his doubt. In that case, the protectors are indeed suspicious. Maybe they have a hidden agenda. Kai glanced at her. She glanced back while saying, and it's related to you. The human once had an altar, right? You heard it yourself that the altar was missing. Don't tell me. Kai paused as both of them shuddered, as if they just thought something terrifying. They don't happen to target you because they want to sacrifice you, right? But they needed to train me first to become a full-fledged protector if they want to sacrifice me and call another calamity. I mean, I don't have enough power to do something like that yet. Indeed. Well, they must have their reasons. If they want a war, we will give them. If they want you, I will make war. The only problem is whether they will release the information about you becoming a protector. I mean, if they say you need to sacrifice yourself to a great cause, the masses will start thinking about that. I don't want to die, so I won't sacrifice myself. Whether the people see me as a selfish person, I don't care. After all, they are more selfish than me. Kai shrugged, not caring about it. True enough. Anyway, it's time for you to go. Rhea smiled. After having enough conversation with Rhea, he finally went inside the room. There was only white when the door was closed. He looked at the camera on the top corner and nodded once before sitting down on the floor. Closing his eyes, he tried to wake up the blood, only to find himself not knowing how to do it. Wait, he didn't tell me anything about this. Kai scratched the back of his head. What should I do? Should I use my sound magic to do this, or use my magic power? He thought for a moment and found a solution. That's right, I can use my magic power to stimulate my blood. After getting the solution, he closed his eyes, focusing on his inner body. The magic power that flew like blood inside his body slowly flowed to his hands, feet, stomach, and even brain. As soon as he completed the first cycle, he felt something was calling him. In an instant, he realized this was the method to stimulate the blood. He started doing the second cycle and got the feedback again. Feeling it wasn't enough, he kept doing it. The third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. When he finished the 20th cycle, his blood felt boiling. It sent a shiver through his body before his mind felt a jolt, as if the blood slowly but surely tried to take over his body from sucking his blood. Not wanting to lose, Kai released his magic power to suppress the blood, like how Zug told him. Of course, he didn't trust him completely. There was a chance that Zug only suggested this because he could take over his body. He had enough leeway to do something like this, especially with his teacher standing by in another room. With the peace on his mind, he suppressed the blood. Just like the explanation, the blood wanted to reign supreme, so it released its dominance. The clash between his power and the blood power immediately induced pain all over his body, as he couldn't help but scream in that instant. Arsh! Kai gripped his pants and clenched his teeth, trying to endure this constant pain. He realized that he lost a portion of his control over this pain, so the only way to fight this was to get used to this kind of pain. Whatever. Even if I become accustomed to pain, it doesn't mean I'm a masochist unless I love the pain itself and act as if it's a pleasure. He thought and tried to concentrate on this pain. I will win this battle. Kai smiled and muttered with confidence, even though he had trouble using that. Sweat started covering his body. His clothes were wet, so he decided to remove them, only enduring the pain with his pants alone. To Ria's surprise, he kept going on for a whole day without eating. She wondered what to do when it reached this point. It was said that humans could last a week without eating, but could only last 3 days without water. Even though it became relatively longer due to magic, it wouldn't last 4 to 5 days. If this continued for an unknown period of time, Kai's life would be in danger. I need to prepare for the worst, Ria thought, and immediately ordered nutritious food while preparing for infusion. If it took longer than 3 days, she would storm in no matter what happened and inserted the infuse tube so he could stay alive until he finished this. Meanwhile, Kai kept fighting against the blood despite his stomach becoming a real lion that continuously asked him for food. His lips started drying too, but it didn't mean he could lower his guard. The 3rd day passed, and Ria couldn't endure anymore. She went inside the room, even if it meant disturbing his concentration. However, it seemed Kai managed to deal with it, as he looked at her and said in a low voice, "Water." She immediately picked up a water bottle and let him drink to his heart's content, before replacing it with nutritious fluid for his protein and such. "Thanks." Kai's face became better after getting the help. "Endure it. I will be here with you." Kai nodded and maintained his focus, while Ria started bringing a few items to check his body condition, to make sure there was no long-lasting effect due to this. Chapter 352. Plan for the future, haha. Panting uncontrollably, Kai used his hands to support him to avoid falling down. Ria, who was beside him this whole time, looked at him worriedly before checking his condition. "Is there any problem with my body? If not, I would like to eat." Kai looked at her with a pale face. "It had been a tortuous 6 days. I have never thought that it will take this long, and I can't do anything about it." Ria monitored his data before nodding her head. "There is nothing wrong with the data. You should be able to eat. Just don't eat too much for several hours, because your stomach will reject it and can't digest it properly." She handed the nutritious food she ordered not long ago while taking off every single instrument that was attached to his body. "You have done it, right? Would you like to rest first or talk while eating?" Kai forced a big hole inside his mouth before nodding his head to answer her question. After having a few bites, he finally started talking. "That was insane. I didn't want to do it again. Anyway, it was better to do it since my memory was still fresh. I hadn't slept for almost a week, so I didn't know what would happen after waking up. I see I have supported you with some machines, but I need to check your body again later. Anyway, what happened? If I need to say it, it's like reading a packed action novel. You will find a smooth opening, climax, another climax, and a few more climaxes before reaching the ending." Kai sighed. At first, everything went smoothly since it was still building up. When the blood became active, I felt severe pain all over my body. Pain. Do you know what caused it? I am not sure, but I feel that the two blood in my body is clashing with each other, trying to assert their own dominance. It turns into a full-fledged war from a brawl. So you can imagine the pain that I am not sure of myself whether I can stay the same. "You are becoming a masochist," she smirked as she couldn't help but tease him. "Well, looking at the girls' personalities, I am sure Michelle will be the perfect one." Kai shrugged. "Anyway, I don't think I can experience something that is more painful than that. Anyway, I can suppress the animal blood with my strength, slowly taking over the blood. As you know, those who had experienced what it meant to have animal blood injected into you would understand what it means when your consciousness got taken over by the magical beast power. Right. I see. It was something like that, but several times more powerful. Yes. I mean, the animal blood that I have in my body stemmed from a protector that could be said to be the ruler of the jungle. If you think it that way, I don't think people need to be alarmed since they might not experience the same thing. Either way, they still need to be prepared for it." Kai nodded. "I will note it down for future research." Well, the pain kept increasing every single day until it reached its peak on the 5th day. "You should have noticed the fact that I didn't scream during the 6 days. Right, yeah. You only let out some groans every now and then, so I thought you'd either grown accustomed to the pain or felt less pain." She nodded. "Yeah." The pain slowly decreased, and I could endure that kind of pain without a problem. Kai nodded with a serious expression. After the pain receded, I could feel that the blood had finished its war and stopped confronting each other. What do you feel about your blood? Anything new? I am not sure I can sense the animal blood better, but I think it's more docile than I've expected. If I stimulate it again, I think it will be lending its power. Is it something like a parasite inside your body? Nope. I don't think it's like that. It doesn't do anything to me. But if I stimulate it, it will come to me like a dog meeting its master after being away for months. You can imagine how they will go to your foot while wagging their tails, right? That's the feeling I have right now. And yes, I believe this blood will give me power more than I have before. Kai smiled. She nodded and took note of all his statements while maintaining her focus on Kai's food, making sure that he didn't eat too much. Of course, I can't let you see for now because the war has just been concluded. Besides, I need to take over the entire government system. I see. It's like you have finally made it as your subordinate, but you still need to get used to it, so the other party would help you willingly. She nodded with a serious expression. Yeah, still, I feel it will give me more strength. Probably I can reach 2,000 kilogram strength with the addition of the exoskeleton. It's double of your previous power then. Yeah, no matter what you said, the blood contained the previous protector's blood. So I should say as expected. Even with a very low portion, the power contained inside it was still far too strong than your average person. That's indeed something encouraging in terms of research, but I doubt I can publish something like this, either. She shrugged. I mean, we will become too dangerous for the government. I doubt they will sit still when they learn about this. Yeah. I don't even know whether to give this method to Ayaka due to the dangerous level she would face. Besides, exoskeleton should be enough for now, considering I have promised everyone a present. That's good then. I don't think anyone can surpass you in terms of strength. Yeah, but you need to know that I will fight against other protectors, especially the ones that seem to target us. Kai furrowed his eyebrows. If I don't have enough strength, I will die. In other words, this will be a race of time whether I can get enough strength first, or they realize everything first and kill me. Indeed. Unfortunately, the future spotlight would be on you. I will be sitting on the back while watching your heroic deeds. She grinned. Stop with the jokes. I am too tired to do that. Kai sighed. Anyway, make sure you camouflage my intention in getting a new source of power from the higher-ups. With how they act so perfectly, I have a feeling that there is a spy among the higher-ups. Fair enough. From time to time, they have perfect timing. She thought for a moment. I will only be talking about this mission with our President Brent while his supremacy lasts. He has done a pretty good job, so I guess we can see him again in the next period. So, we will see him for at least 5 more years. That's good. 5 years should be enough to do many things. In that case, I will be doing what I need to do. She nodded. Anyway, I think I have finished my food. Although I am still hungry, I can't eat more than this, right? Yes. It won't be good for your body. Just have enough to drink first and go to sleep. Kai then took the water bottle and drank it in one go. As soon as he finished, he sighed. Then I will be leaving everything to you, teacher. You can bring me to the usual operation room to monitor me, but I really need to sleep. It's been 6 days. Before he finished, he already fell asleep. Seeing that Kai would fall to the ground, she pulled him to his embrace, letting him sleep comfortably. She looked at his big black bag under his eyes and stroked his hair. Seriously, what can I do to you? You have been reckless this whole time. Well, this personality of yours saved me when I had no motivation to continue living. It is true that we need to do whatever we want when we are still strong enough. Sleep well, my beloved student. You've worked hard. She predicted that Kai would sleep for the entire 3 days if she calculated the torture he experienced during the process. But to her surprise, Kai only took 2 days before waking up. He found a familiar ceiling when he opened his eyes and instantly recognized it. The pain started becoming more apparent when he woke up. It was normal since humans usually felt a headache after having too much sleep. Even so, he felt that his body moved very well and his senses improved slightly. However, he couldn't really sense the difference in his ears. It might be due to his ears being too powerful to begin with, so he didn't think much about it and continued to check his body. I can move my body without a problem. Other than the headache that will go away soon, I don't think there is a problem with my body. I only need to adjust to my current states. Kai thought before rising from the bed. Coincidentally, Ria came inside the room and stared at him blankly for a few seconds. In her hands were piping hot instant noodles. She noticed that Kai's eyes were glued on that, so she awkwardly asked, do you want some? She knew that Kai hated junk food, but to her surprise, Kai only smiled. Actually, I am very hungry, and I feel like having one with you, all right. I will brew a few more cups for us together. We can start with this cup first. Here, take this. She handed the cup noodle before leaving. I will get us bowls. Kai stared at her blankly before shaking his head helplessly. Chapter 353, Tricking the Trickster. The next few weeks, Kai used this chance to familiarize himself with this new power while fighting Ria Ross. They fought seriously, trying to win with all their might. However, Kai had his own resolve and managed to fulfill this objective. They fought 10 times each day, with each fight lasting 30 minutes. In these fights, Kai and Ria learned each other's pattern to make a grand plan they could use to beat them in the next match. Out of 100 matches, 30 of them went to Kai, while the rest went to Ria. Considering that his earlier expectation was low, Kai felt happy with his current achievement, but wasn't satisfied yet. He sought improvement. These two were coming up with their own trick, so they needed to constantly think about their fights, giving a perfect opportunity for both of them to create a battlefield situation. After all, Kai needed to face the protectors from the sea that he had fought several times. Ria trained his adaptability and discerning ability, so Kai could understand the opponent better than ever. She hoped with this kind of training, they would get more information and improve their strategy. For what Kai and Ria agreed on one thing. This preparation was meant to be the pilot plan of the big war that might appear in the near future. Not wanting to get destroyed, Kai chose this hard way even if he needed to exhaust himself. After all, if he needed to choose whether he wanted to live leisurely with the girls for the next few years but died after that, or suffered during this war. To experience a long future, he would undoubtedly choose the latter. Finally, 1 week before the school started again, Kai and Ria faced their 300th battle. This will be our last fight. I hope you have prepared all of your tricks to beat me. She smiled. Of course I will be taking you down on our last match. Even if I don't win the war, I shall win this last battle. Kai smirked. Oh, talking big, eh? Fine by me. Let me see your power then. Ria Ross waved her finger up and down, taunting him. As usual, Kai smiled and made a distance before tossing the coin into the air. On his hand were his vibration swords ready to cut her. A smile couldn't help but appear on his face, as he felt this was the most meaningful training he had after a long while. Ria was the same. Every single time she faced Kai, she felt the need to improve, not wanting to be surpassed by him this easily. As long as she maintained her strength at the top, she could give Kai a goal to chase. After all, it was easier to chase her back rather than walking straight to his path that there was no way to tell which was right or wrong. As long as she raised the bar high enough, he should be fine. This was Ria's motivation to improve. Looking at Kai's vibration swords, she took a deep breath. Ding! The moment the coin hit the ground, both jumped forward, slashing both their weapons simultaneously. However, Ria obviously couldn't handle Kai's strength, forcing her to use both her hands to barely hold his weapon back. You are lucky to know the weapon's stronger than my vibration sword. However, can you handle this one? Kai smiled, trying to cut her with his other sword. As he said, Ria, the creator of his vibration sword and the researcher of the magical beasts, had found to create this powerful sword that had the hardness of a protector's skin. When the second blade came, a magic circle appeared on their feet before 5 spear blades emerged from within, shooting straight to Kai's head. Not having the option, he took a step back and used his second sword to slash those 5 spears. What did you say again? She smirked. I am saying, how do you dodge this? Kai created a small magic circle that burst out Soundwave. It was powerful. Ria lowered her hand just to block it. Even then, it looked hurt so much. That sound blast is really annoying. She clicked her tongue. After this training session, Kai learned how to create a smaller sound blast that seemed to be harder to create since it required him to concentrate the magic. However, this smaller sound blast had a power advantage over the normal sound blast. If one were hit by this, they would feel as if there was a blunt bullet hitting them in that specific area. The result was apparent. It gave a quite swollen mark over that area. Sound blast, bullet version. Kai smiled. By the way, I haven't asked this yet. Does it have a range limit? She asked. Yes. The most I can use without losing the power inside it is around this room size. Kai sighed. I mean, the sound wave will go in all directions, so that's the only range I can control it. Even so, it's already powerful enough. It's as if you have a third hand holding a pistol, Rhea commented while maintaining her distance. I agree with that, but I believe it has the potential to grow. Kai nodded, feeling fired up to improve this magic. I agree, Rhea nodded. Well, what I hate from you right now is your strength. You were already ridiculously strong, so that strength is making you stronger. Since we were forbidden from asking during the fight, so there was no information leak, how about we make an exception in this last fight? Sure. I am curious about Teacher too, Kai nodded. Your magic activation is significantly faster that I feel like I should improve in that area as well. This way, I won't have to worry whether to choose my Sound Blast or Oscillation Shield. Is that so? I have no advice for you since you can only achieve this with training. Yeah, Heis, how I wish to have 48 hours a day. Kai sighed. Don't be. How long are you going to sleep? Isn't that question for you? Kai looked at her weirdly. She was the one with the sleeping issue due to her workaholic nature. Well, she looked away before a magic circle appeared on the ground and ceiling simultaneously. Not only those two magic circles, but there were also a few white lines appearing in the room. You shouldn't talk with your enemy, you know. This is why. You have been surrounded. Kai only shook his head while smiling. Who is my teacher? Me. When she answered him, she suddenly felt dizzy and her eyes were shaking. This is. Not wanting to wait any longer, she leaped backward, finding that between Kai's thighs was a small magic circle. Yes, he had completely understood the concentration, so he could create a small magic circle for every single of his magic. What he used just now was the resonant beam that he usually used to shake their eyes, blurring their vision. They both proved themselves as shameless fighters that used every single trick just to defeat their opponent, and both managed to surprise each other with this trick. In the long term, Rhea was the one having the advantage, but in the short term, he was. That was why he didn't waste a second and chased her, not letting her recover. You shameless student. Are you trying to make your teacher blind while we are talking? Aren't you the one who wants to kill your student during the discussion? Kai and Rhea snorted as the two clashed again. Luckily, Rhea felt that the shaking eyes had recovered slightly as she used a magic shield to block the sound wave from it. This lowered her speed a bit, allowing Kai to catch up. As soon as he entered her range, she slashed the first strike in order to stop his march. Kai didn't think much of this single sword strike that ran through the ground. He simply used his vibration sword and blasted it away while making his way toward her. Rhea summoned a few white metals from the ground to support her power to clash with Kai. It was effective for a few seconds before both of them kicked each other on the stomach. Since he had his exoskeleton, Kai recovered faster than her and leaped forward, trying to cut her down with this opening. Rhea also realized that she couldn't swing to the front due to her momentum, so she changed her plan and swung it to the back instead, sending the sword strike through the wall, ceiling, and ground, arriving behind Kai. Kai obviously understood the pattern, so he didn't look back, only using his left hand to destroy it again. Rhea suddenly smiled, making Kai nervous for a second before noticing the change on the sword strike's path. He instinctively turned around and realized that it was a zigzag instead of a straight line. When it hit his sword, he was blown away because of the sideway momentum, creating a distance to reset the fight again. Having enough distance from Rhea, Kai looked around and found that the room was filled with bending lines. Unlike her usual lines of attack, this wasn't straight, but instead random. Kai wouldn't be able to figure out the patterns in a short time, and by the time he learned it, Rhea would have changed the pattern into another one. Still, what made him mad was the fact there was a loop in the room, as if it was where a track went 360 degrees flip. He shouted with an angry tone. Did you just freaking create a roller coaster track in this place? Oi, you are talking to your teacher here language. Chapter 354. Full Power. You have been holding back this whole time, Kai gritted his teeth while looking at the track. I don't know what you are talking about. Ria Ross looked away. It's a foolish question, I guess. There is only a winner and a loser. The one who is defeated is the loser, and you are going to be that, she smirked. Although she already knew that Kai could make a small magic circle, she didn't know he could control it to even place it between his thighs. However, it couldn't be called holding back like her since he had shown the potential. Meanwhile, Ria never changed her track this whole time, and it wasn't like she could improve to something like this within days or weeks. She must have trained it for a long time, even before he came to this house. I'm going to beat you today and shove those words to your mouth. Kai clenched his sword. Try it, I will prove you wrong. She pointed her sword toward him. Kai created a few more sound blast magic circles. Aiming at her sound bullet, a few shockwaves flew toward her. Ria looked at Kai instead of the shockwaves, finding whether Kai's body leaned to the left or right. As soon as she confirmed it, she leaped to the right, avoiding both the bullets and Kai. However, Kai only smiled as his left hand was behind his body, and Ria couldn't see it because he had moved slightly to the left like she predicted. When she saw 2 magic circles on Kai's ears, she realized everything was a trap. Shting! The high-pitched voice echoed in the room, and Ria felt her eardrums wanted to explode. Her grips were also loosening. Kai used his sound blast again to cover the distance between them and slashed his swords. Bam! The sound of ground cracking as Kai just made a crater with that strike, pinning Ria on the ground. He soon realized that Ria was not injured and found 2 pillars that stopped his swords. Such a powerful blow. Ria smiled. Before Kai pulled back his swords, she used her hand to send another 2 sword strikes that attacked him from 2 different sides. Without having many choices, Kai directed both his swords to blow the attacks away before taking a few step backs. Ria would surely send another strike again if he stood there. Seeing this, Ria rose from the ground and let out a long sigh. I have never expected you to try to fool me. You always predicted my movement, so I have been thinking what your indicator is. After doing some research, it turns out to be my gesture. Kai smiled. That's why you used that to your advantage, to hide the fact that you were using a magic circle. She paused for a moment and summoned another pair of swords. They both took a deep breath before leaping toward each other. Both of them were stressed due to the high-paced fight, and the accumulation of all the fights from before really took a toll on their minds. So they decided to clash with only their swords. The clash continued for 10 minutes to cool down until Ria made her move. Ria pointed her hand on the ceiling as a magic circle appeared. Sword rain. 3 swords emerged and flew toward him. Kai slashed those 3 swords without a problem. Ria chose to use this opportunity to get close to him before slashing her sword toward his neck. Kai smiled and released everything since the first 15 minutes had passed. He wanted to finish this battle within the time limit, so he activated this instinct that he called Beast Intent. At the same time, he used this opportunity to activate his sonic boom for the first time. Sonic sword. Kai struck her sword. Not good. Ria widened her eyes and immediately created a shield in front of her. When the 4 swords clashed, the sound wave that the sonic boom generated flew to all directions other than Kai's direction. It was the result of his training. He had managed to control the direction after fighting this long. With this kind of power, Ria was blown away and her shield was broken, albeit she still didn't manage to cut her down. Ria took a few deep breaths while landing perfectly on the wall before launching herself toward Kai again. This is annoying. It's good then. Kai smiled and clashed with her again. Ria was blown away once again due to the accumulated force from his strength and shockwave. She wouldn't stand a chance against this, so she changed her strategy. What should I do? He has destroyed the sword rain and started using his full power, so I need a trick to wear him out first before defeating him. Or should I? Ria thought for a moment before shaking her head. She slashed her swords to send the sword strikes again, confusing him. Kai could see that both strikes went to the same path, so he didn't bother checking the lines and immediately struck with his left sword while maintaining his distance from it. Even if Ria changed the path again, he wouldn't get hit. However, Ria shocked him once again, because it was creating a straight vertical line using her white metal to climb the ceiling, and struck him from above. Kai instinctively blocked it with his swords. Seriously? You can even make the vertical one, not just a slope. The slope alone that slowly turned into a 360 degrees vertical turn was already shocking enough for him, but it turned out she could bend it even further like this. You're right. She appeared right in front of him while smiling. Now, die. Kai gritted his teeth and stopped the sword wave with his right sword alone, while the other sword was heading straight to his front to stop Rhea's swords. Rhea ducked down and slid her sword on Kai's sword. Noticing this movement, Kai created 2 sound bullets to hit her sword's body, deflecting the swords. At the same time, another 2 sound bullets appeared next to her, trying to either launch or injure her. Rhea put on a shield to block the bullets, but Kai sent a kick instead of the sound bullet, blowing her away. She sent another sword strike to him, but Kai was already fed up with all these lines on the ground. Since you can create every kind of track, I simply need to destroy the foundation first, Kai shouted as he slashed his sword to the ground. The sound wave coming from the sonic boom splashed all over the ground, creating cracks after cracks on the ground. Rhea widened her eyes, never expecting Kai to ruin the entire pattern by destroying the foundation itself. However, Rhea remained calm and said, "Do you think I can't do anything about it?" Waving her swords once again, she sent another 2 sword strikes that were about to follow the tracks. Due to the scale of the damage Kai inflicted to the ground, he still had half meters to react. If these sword strikes could continue despite not having the track, he should be able to get away before it hit him. He used this measurement due to what Rhea showed in the past. Her sword strike never flew off his track. Even if it was the momentum, it only leaned slightly to the front. This half meter was enough for him to avoid the residual energy unless Rhea was still holding back this whole time. It turned out Rhea didn't hold back as she appeared right after he turned around to destroy her attacks. She suddenly felt a punch on her stomach that blew her to the ceiling. Kai was acting this whole time. He never planned to destroy the 2 sword strikes because he believed these 2 wouldn't hit him. That was why after she flew, Kai leaped toward her and waved his swords. The shock wave coming from the sonic boom tried to cut her too if she tried to escape, while some destroyed the magic circle. Unfortunately, Rhea managed to get away while looking at him with a serious expression. "Where are you going, teacher?" Kai smiled with confidence. "Only 10 minutes left from the time limit. I am going to end you before that. Since that is the case, I won't hold back anymore. It's not like we will fight for too long." Watching how Kai used his new power to the fullest, she should fight back with everything she had. A few white swords suddenly appeared as she closed her eyes. Her grey hair slowly turned white and glowed. "This might be the first time you've seen me in this form. This is the magic that I have been working for, to kill an S-rank magical beast, albeit I am not fast enough to complete this magic." She smiled. "The magic is fluctuating." Kai narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but ask, "What is that sword-sing form?" She answered, and the swords began to swirl around her. Suddenly, she opened her eyes as a sword mark appeared on her eyes. Kai got a shiver when she opened her eyes and instinctively raised both swords to block something. To his surprise, a shock wave flew toward him before turning into a sword. It hit directly on both swords and blew him away. Rolling on the ground, Kai used Oscillation Shield to block the incoming swords that had been swirling around her. Clank, clank, clank. The power behind these swords was beyond his imagination. He couldn't understand why the swords contained more power than usual, but he endured it all until one moment when his oscillation broke, and one sword passed it, stabbing the side of his abdomen. Spat blood. Chapter 355, Deception and Never Give Up. Gah! Kai clenched his fists and maintained his vision on Rhea, enduring the sharp pain he received just now. Rhea seemed to have no intention of stopping here and created another sword that flew toward Kai at the same speed. Luckily, Kai had a larger distance to react completely, despite his bewilderment at her new technique. He used his sonic sword and slashed it. The force carried by the sword collided with Kai's sound wave, sending a shock wave to the surroundings. Still, Kai managed to remain calm and looked on the ground beneath his feet before jumping to the left. Not fast enough. Rhea clapped her hand as multiple sword strikes ran through the ground, moving toward Kai from all directions. Unlike the previous version, the sword strikes actually made its own path on the ground. Seriously. Kai gritted his teeth and observed their movements to see which way he could go. After contemplating for a second, he halted his step and moved in the opposite direction while slashing his way through that. To his surprise, the sword strikes that missed him didn't change their direction. He instantly realized that the sword strikes were programmed before they were launched. This gave Kai a chance to avoid it completely, so he took this note in his mind and planned to use it when he had the chance. Meanwhile, his eyes observed Ria's current condition. He was surprised by Ria's transformation, but he could sense with his instinct that Ria's magic power was leaking from his body. In other words, she could have this power-up, but only for a few minutes. "What is that power, teacher?" Kai shouted, trying to check something. Ria heard that question too, but didn't answer him. Instead, she raised her right hand as white swords hovered around her body. The swords suddenly flew toward Kai as soon as she waved her hand down. As expected, she doesn't have much time in that state. If I can stay alive under her continuous attack for a while, I should be able to win. With this thought in his mind, he slashed the first two swords. However, this turned out to be Ria's surprise to him. The broken swords formed another 3 smaller swords that automatically flew toward him. Seeing 3 swords and 6 smaller swords flying toward him, Kai activated his instinct to the fullest. The first thing he did after that was leaping backward while creating 6 smaller oscillation shields to block all the smaller swords. Due to his ears and instinct, he could pinpoint where all the swords were going, so the smaller oscillation shields managed to perfectly block every single of them. Meanwhile, Kai slashed another 2 swords and used the distance between them to block the smaller swords from those 2 before destroying the remaining swords. What? Before he could even take a breather, Ria already created a spear in front of her eyes, aiming at Kai's heart. Go! The spear was launched like the sword, but due to the design of the spear, it moved faster than the sword and contained more power behind it. Kai waved both sonic swords and struck it down. As one would expect, he still had problems cutting it down. The shockwave shook the ground, but Ria and Kai simply ignored everything other than each other. When Kai cut the spear down, Ria already summoned the 5 swords that already made their way to him. "Oi, oi you, devil teacher! Give your student a breather first," Kai shouted before handling the swords again with the same trick. "You are a fortress right now." However, Ria finally made her move this time. If he stayed still and kept repeating the same movement, Kai wouldn't have a chance to reach her, but it seemed she needed to do it. Kai listened to her steps and smiled, knowing that there was a chance for him to defeat her. The moment she appeared behind him, Kai leaped to the front, taking the full brunt of her attack, making a distance between the two. As he expected, Ria chased him with the 2 swords in the air and 2 swords in her hands. A few magic circles appeared in that chase, and Kai shot 2 sound bullets that destroyed the 2 swords in the air, turning them into 6 smaller swords before destroying them with the second volley. With this, Ria had no more defense that could protect her. He and Ria had a clash in that instant, resulting in Ria being blown away. Rolling a few meters on the ground, she stabilized herself and pointed her hand toward Kai while summoning another sword. This was the moment. The sword broke into pieces, and her transformation was undone. Together with her shocked face, Kai concluded that this was his win and leaped toward her, planning to wrap this battle with his victory. Ria gritted her teeth and clenched the 2 swords. She sent another 2 sword strike, one from the front and one from the side. "It seems I'm coming on top this time, teacher." Kai smirked and leaped toward her, planning to cut her down. He completely ignored the second sword strike that came from the side, because he could simply outrun it while planning to use his sword to destroy the attack from the front as he made his way toward her. Due to the sword wave, Kai couldn't see that she had actually stood up again perfectly fine. His ears picked up that movement but believed that it was her desperate action. When the sword strike disappeared after the cut, he realized that everything turned out to be not as he expected. Ria Ross only smiled. "Have you forgotten what I taught you in the past? My second rule of fighting." Kai widened his eyes as a scene of his past self flashed in his mind. A decade ago, Kai was lying down on the ground while complaining. "Teacher, why are you bullying me? Haven't you done enough by killing me 5,000 times? There is no way I can fight you." Unlike the current Ria, the past her had short gray hair and fierce eyes. With that military uniform on, she looked completely like that of a general. She only looked at him and asked, "This is like you are asking the opponent that wants to kill you to screw themselves over because you don't want to die and can't fight them." Do you think they give a damn about it? But you said I am stronger than most of my peers. In the battlefield, there is no such a thing as peers. There are only those who are stronger and weaker than you. That's why, no matter what you face in the future, never stop fighting. She thought for a moment. Well, I do have one piece of advice for you in this case. What is it? Even though I can't use it against you, I can still remember it for the future case. Good. Listen well. One of the most important things that you need to do to defeat an opponent who is stronger than you, other than control, is how well you can deceive your enemy with false information. For instance, though you appear weakened so that you don't look exhausted, you pretend you are. Although you have no strength left in your body, you suffer through without flinching, showing how strong you are. Since there was a chance that you would think everything is a lie, I used more magic power than I usually needed, but it seems it was very effective. If you ever get another chance, you should try that as well. It's crucial for planning and execution in battle, because the opponent who thinks they can win will leave a gap in their defense at the right moment. Don't miss that opening no matter what. When he recalled everything, Kai drew a gasp and looked at Rhea with a dumbfounded look. He panicked a little and realized that everything was a trap. You had used this trick in your previous battle, but has the achievement gone through your head, raising your ego? Rhea smiled as she transformed again, and the two sword strikes changed their direction. Kai gritted his teeth and tried to create oscillation shields, but without enough time. The two sword strikes cut him right on the abdomen, separating his lower half and upper half. This is the end. Without a doubt, Kai would die from something like this. Rhea wanted to honor him for his effort and chose to kill him with that strange sword that had more power than any other. She blinked her eyes once and launched the sword. Maybe it was a desperate move, but he knew that he had no chance of stopping the attack, so he raised his hand before her attack split him into two, creating 5 magic circles. Rhea was amazed. It was his sound bullet. Even though she wanted to block it, she simply had no method left. Her transformation was undone because she didn't have enough magic power anymore and tried to step back to avoid it. In this exchange, Kai was shredded into pieces with that sword, and blood was splattered in all directions. But the 5 sound bullets Kai released in his last move managed to perfectly pierce her vitals as well. She remembered the past scene as well, especially the part where she told him to never give up fighting. Kai obviously never gave up in that position, still trying to kill him despite knowing there was no way he could win. Her eyes gradually became blurry before she closed her eyes completely and fell down while saying, "Well done, but I still win." Chapter 356. Reflecting. When Rhea Ross exited the training tube, she found Kai sitting on the chair near the system control, which was supposed to be her seat. "Congratulations. You managed to kill me," Rhea smiled. "That killed you." Kai raised his eyebrows, looking surprised. "You didn't see it?" "Nope. I lost my vision right when I aimed the sound bullets at you. Because I believed you would move, I gambled in which direction you would move." Kai shook his head in disappointment. "That's a shame. I thought it was not a coincidence, but it was good enough. You managed to beat me even though I hid my real power this whole time." She gave a thumb up and continued. "I didn't plan to beat you with this, but that was something necessary for you since you looked a bit overconfident after getting that blood power, magic control, and the sonic boom. Fair enough. I thought I could do anything since I had a long-ranged attack, which is my sound bullet or my sound blast in a smaller version called bullet version or sound bullet. As for the blood power, I have nothing to say. I feel like I gained a huge pride after mastering the instinct, probably the side effect. Either way, humble is something that can be trained. I will train in that aspect to counter the pride." Kai nodded, knowing what to improve. "It's fine then. If you feel anything weird in your body because of that blood power, call me anytime. Besides, I have a few bags of your blood here, so I can test it again to see whether the current blood has a different characteristic than the previous one. How about your magic control?" "Everything is fine. Concentrating my magic in one spot allows me to create another one near it. With that strengthened instinct of mine, I believe I can pinpoint enemy attacks and use a concentrated oscillation shield." Kai nodded. "That's good. You have gotten stronger. And this is the end of our practical training. Tomorrow, we will move to the last stage of your training, which is the battle simulation training. We are going to have a battle in terms of strategy. Of course, real-time and prepared one, depending on the circumstances. For now, you can rest first. She smiled and patted his shoulders. Before that, I need to ask you this first. What was that magic that could transform you into something? Kai didn't know the term and stopped talking while looking at Ria, who should know what he was talking about. She grinned and teased him. Do you want me to tell you? How about begging me for it? If you don't want to, I won't force you. Kai shrugged. Besides, you are my teacher. If knowing it is bad for me, you won't tell me even if I beg you, and vice versa. You smart brat. She stroked his hair, looking at Kai fondly. The little man had truly grown up. Hesitating for a second, she decided to share it with him. Don't tell anyone else about this yet, all right? I understand. That technique is stimulating my body into the finest form. In other words, it's a kind of releasing my limiter. You must have heard the terms of the limiter, right? Kai contemplated and answered, yes. For example, if I ask someone to run and tell him that he can stop when he can't do it anymore, I am sure that he will stop when reaching his limit. However, this is the first limit, which is a pseudo-limit. I can tell him to run one more lap before he can finish, and surprisingly, he can still do it. He can even do a few more laps before reaching the second limit of his body. This second limit is called the body limit, while the first limit is the mind limit. There is a third limit, and this is the most dangerous one. It will make you collapse on the spot, and in a serious case, you might have some accidents. Kai suddenly realized and narrowed his eyes. You? Nope. I am only at the body limit I trained when I had time, but I kept doing it until I really couldn't stand up anymore. When I continued for a few months, I realized that something changed in my body. It was like having a breakthrough, albeit it took longer than I expected, so it wasn't ready for the S-rank magical beast yet. She let out a long sigh. Do you have any injuries? Even though the body limit is the maximum limit, I am sure it will give you some kind of injuries. No, don't worry. If we didn't have magic power, I wouldn't dare do something like this. However, this magic power allows us to recover a bit faster than normal people in the past, and the more magic power you have, the faster it gets. So I have no injuries right now. That's good then, yeah. I didn't know for how long, but I felt like when I reached that stage, I could understand my body a bit clearer than before. That's when I realized the kind of imaginary limiter in my body. When I turned it off, I could release the magic power in my body at a bulk. That's why it was leaking. Kai narrowed his eyes. Yes, she nodded. Because the limiter is not there to restrain my body, obviously I have nothing to stop the magic power from leaking. For now, I can handle that state for about 10 minutes, but I will be too exhausted to do anything after that. What is it called? Kai asked. I wonder if I should learn that as well. Nope. This is what I really want to say. You will surpass me in the future, but I can't afford to lose to you yet. After all, you have yet to reach your limit. Then, are you saying you have reached your limit? Kai narrowed his eyes. No, no one can tell their limit. However, I can feel a giant wall that will stop me in the near future. That's why I have this technique to shatter and the wall for 10 minutes. She smiled helplessly. As much as I hate to say it, I couldn't keep up with your strength, giving you more motivation to surpass me. When you graduate, I won't stand a chance against you anymore. Kai's body shook and immediately hugged her. Teacher. He wanted to cry after seeing how caring his teacher was this whole time, but endured it. He shouldn't show his weakness here. Look at you. You shouldn't be this weak. Don't cry. All right, I am not crying. His tone was still clear, but penetrated her heart. She smiled and hugged him tightly. Your path is more horrendous than mine. I might not be able to share your burden anymore, but I won't stop being your teacher and watching you from behind. Go and soar to the sky. Kai closed his eyes as a smile appeared on his face. Enough of this. She slowly released him before making a big grin. Doesn't this mean you are still overconfident for challenging me, brat? Kai let out a long sigh. Yes. You don't need to talk about it again, because I know I have made many mistakes during our last fight. Well, I applaud you for remembering it at the last second. You told me yourself that I should have never given up when fighting an opponent. Kai shook his head. I thought that even if it was mutual destruction, it was still better than dying alone. Wait, mutual destruction? When she was about to tease him again, she realized that Kai seemed to think about something important. So she stopped for a second and observed his expression. Do you still remember when I reported about the magical beasts going on a suicide mission? Yeah, they sacrificed their lives to bring you down. She nodded. We thought there should be a protector giving them a lesson to do that. Or it can even be an order too. But there is one more problem. What if there are 1,000 of them at the same time? Kai asked. This is going to be a big hurdle for us. She furrowed her eyebrows and looked down, falling into deep thought. I wonder if I should make a barrier tool that could protect us from something like that. Rhea came to a conclusion that if they couldn't stop them, they just needed something to protect them. Yes, but I don't think you should do it. You don't believe me? No, I will be asking Ayaka's family to do this. It will give them a high standing too if this is important to us. Kai's expression turned serious. Her family is the same as mine, but unlike me who received the favor from the president because of you, she doesn't have anything to raise her family standing other than being a merchant family. So, you want to use this to raise their standing and have the government protect it like other families that have been fighting on the front line? Yes. Kai nodded. I see. That's something interesting. Michelle and Sophia already have a high standing with their Graham and Campbell families. The only one left is Ayaka, since you don't need to think about your little sweetheart in United Asia. Exactly. That's why I will be negotiating with them to prepare for the incoming danger in a few years. All right, I will agree with you. Just tell me if they need a sponsor. I have been making a lot of money in my early days, so I can become their sponsor. She smiled. Thank you, teacher. For now, we should prepare for anything possible, especially regarding the protectors. Okay, go rest now. We will continue our talk tomorrow. I will take care of the recording first. I will take a bath and sleep. You should take care of yourself too. Kai nodded and left the room. Chapter 357. Playing inside Rhea's study room. Two people sat before each other. On the table in front of them, there was a small map with a realistic terrain that reflected the real world itself, and beside them was a box filled with a miniature of military equipment. Kai took a moment before making his next plan, while Rhea kept taking away his pieces that symbolized the soldiers. Suddenly, Kai made a surprise move when he actually used her piece to attack herself. Wait, what are you doing? That's my piece. She was bewildered by his action and tried to push it back. Not letting her do so, he grabbed her hand and shook her head. You can't do that. No, you are the one who can't do that. That's my piece. Who said that is your piece? Kai looked at her weirdly. What? That's certainly mine. Wait a minute. She furrowed her eyebrows and thought for a moment, realizing Kai's real intention. Now, I see what you are doing. No one can tell who is your ally and who is your enemy. He shook his head. Of course, you can believe the people you trust the most, but it doesn't mean you can let your guard down. Fair enough. She had understood him completely. You are talking about the protector, right? Yes. If I am them, I will have a spy from our side to be a double agent. Unlike them, who don't have an interest in us, they actually can incite our curiosity to pull us to their side. What I am afraid of is how many people have actually been bought by them. This is still a baseless accusation, though. Rhea shook her head. I know, but it doesn't mean we can let our guard down. Just like how they approached that whatever shitty professor, I believe they can do something like this. I don't like having an enemy that can backstab me at any moment. Kai gritted his teeth. But we don't know who they are. What are you going to do with them? I'm not sure. If they are from high-ranking people, they must know about my ability and make sure that I don't have anything suspicious. Kai let out a long sigh. This is why I hate people who are too greedy. True, but there is a possibility of fear. I mean, you should know that we stand no chance against the protectors if they come with a full number. If that is the case, many people will cower. I feel half of them will surely defect from this side. She nodded. For various reasons, though. I mean, if you need to make a choice whether to have your wives killed or join their side, what will you choose? Kai's expression turned serious, and he looked at her without saying anything. After a while, Kai scratched the back of his head. It's normal to have that thought. If you are there, I am sure I will defect from here. You don't need to answer me now, but I want you to be decisive when that time comes. Of course, it's better if this never happens in the future. I just want you to know that hard decisions need to be made. She gently smiled. What if I ask you to protect them? Kai gently smiled, but his expression looked helpless. It was time for Ria to fall silent, knowing that both his request and himself were special. Both of them now had their head down, as they couldn't answer the question. Let's stop talking about this and cross it when the time comes, okay? I am not pessimistic, of course, but I just want to be realistic. With how they are trying to catch me and kill those beside me, I feel like they want me to do something for them. If pushes come to shove, I can be the bargaining chip, Kai smiled. No, I won't let you. Ria released her killing intent before realizing what she had done. Let's talk about something else, shall we? Kai sighed and clapped his hand once, turning the mood to neutral. He then said, by the way, do you have a problem with me having a kid after graduation? Nope, the medicine will be ready at that time anyway. She didn't have a change of expression. This is your life choice. I want you to be careful with it. Well, ordinary people have kids from their high school, which is around 16 years old due to the current situation. However, the rule will start changing soon as we capture the entire American continent. I don't know whether the government wants to push us to repopulate the Earth or do it at our own pace, but this is something we won't see in our generation. She shook her head. Do you know that we might have controlled a few key points, but we haven't cleaned up the rest of the magical beasts yet? Really? Yes. For example, the famous Amazon rainforest. We have locked it up with the 3 military bases in Peru, Brazil, and Colombia, but we still give missions so the students can help us. Even if they venture inside, they are not allowed to go to the inner circle. This is the first time I heard about it. Kai narrowed his eyes. It's simply for PR. They want to instill hope and make a good impression in the eye of the public by piercing through the enemy's rank. That was why we had a mission to take care of, that S-rank spider. It was to establish a military base in Argentina and southern Chile. Kai thought for a moment. It's a win-win situation. I mean, if we can have a base on the bottom of Southern America, we can launch an attack from all directions. Kai nodded with a serious expression. This is what I will do if I have the highest command. Yes, but it will take a huge amount of resources and human lives. She let out a sigh and remembered a certain problem from Kai's story. Besides, there is a future problem, especially if we kill those magical beasts. Kai's face turned serious. If they kept going at this pace, there would be a chance that the next 3 or 4 generations ahead would face another calamity, since the protectors that were still alive wouldn't let the humans do something like this. Besides, it would not be beneficial for the humans too, since they couldn't have a supply of meat and magic stone again. Suddenly, they thought of the same thing and looked at each other, knowing that they had arrived at the same conclusion that they deemed to be ridiculous. You are not thinking the same as me, right? Using the protector life to create a life source that can sustain the Earth. And there is a chance that we can populate Mars? Like the sci-fi movies that we love to watch. Yes. Besides, there is a chance that the human will try to kill you no matter what, because they are afraid that they can't control you anymore. What will you do at that time? I am going to build my own civilization. Or that's what my most ridiculous thought at the moment. Kai shrugged. I mean, there are many ancient civilizations that are still alive, right? I can simply hide there with my family and still maintain my status as a protector. Besides, it's not like I want to fight another protector. That's just a thought. But I guess you have watched too many movies. Fair enough. Kai smiled before sighing. Well, I want to live to the fullest until I die. Besides, I can take my own life when I have had enough. Oh, right. I almost forgot the fact that the protector's lifespan is more than normal humans. Yes, there is also a chance that normal humans can cultivate their power in the future. That's what I am looking for. If it can be achieved, I think we will extend the peaceful time. Kai smiled. In that case, are you planning to keep the secret of the requirement to become the protector to your death? Yes, I am going to play the fool when the time comes. That's why I only plan to tell you and 1 or 2 girls. Michelle and Tasha are the perfect choices. If it's only one of them, they won't be able to share their worries, so I am against it. For now, both Michelle and Tasha have the greatest mindset for receiving this secret. Yes, I will be telling them after graduation. If they still accept me, I will hold the marriage. Kai smiled. You look so confident. Ria also couldn't contain her smile. Of course I believe in them. Kai nodded. Besides, I would like to talk with another protector in the future. Maybe knowing a bit about the protector's life will surely help me in the future. Anyway, this is a check. Kai stopped her from talking about another topic and focused back on the game. Despite talking about this serious topic, they kept playing the simulation game against each other. This was also a part of the training since, on the battlefield, they needed to keep track of everything. In other words, multitasking was the requirement for this. Talking and playing were a lot of work, especially with a serious talk like this. The war ended when Kai took down Rhea and celebrated by raising his hands. Yay! I get the victory. Unfortunately, there was no celebration from Rhea. They soon fell into deep thought, focusing on the part where Kai chose to make a move where her piece betrayed her. Rhea exclaimed with an angry tone, "Betrayal sucks. No, double agent. Is Chapter 358. Goodbye." When everything had finished, it was time for Kai to return to his home. He was walking outside Rhea's house and stopped to take another look at her. "Teacher, don't forget to eat, sleep, and take care of your health. I know that you are going to be skipping meals again after this. All right, I know what you want to say. It's annoying." Rhea closed his mouth with her hand. "Want me to report every single thing I did to you?" Kai fell silent before stepping backward to release himself. "Then, I should go back now." "Yeah." Rhea nodded while looking at the taxi that would bring him to the airport. Seeing her gentle expression one last time, he was satisfied and turned around, walking to the taxi. He put down his luggage and came in before his teacher called his name. Kai. Stunned for a second, he opened the window and stared at her. Rhea put on a big smile and waved her hand. "It's the best 3 months." Kai couldn't contain his smile and said, "Take care of yourself." Rhea nodded and turned around as Kai finally left her house. Meanwhile, he wasn't the only one coming back today. The others happened to be having their own goodbye with the ones that took care of them. Ayaka and Tasha were standing in front of a middle-aged man and a beautiful woman. The man had a big muscle, which was Paolo's characteristic. Yes, these two had been hopping from one battlefield to another, testing every single kind of battlefield. They learned many things about any different kind of situation and understood their roles. Of course, it didn't mean they only pursued experiences here. They kept practicing their new magic, so they didn't lack the power to keep up with the others. There was no doubt in their eyes that the others would become so much stronger. Beside Paolo, Erica patted both their shoulders before hugging them. "It's our blessing to have both of you in our base. It's a good 1 month. Thank you for taking care of us, Commander Erica. I can confidently say that this base gave us the most learning experiences." Ayaka smiled and hugged her back. "Indeed, I might be coming back here soon." Tasha backed her claim with her own situation. "Is that so? Then, I am looking forward to our next meeting." She nodded before releasing them. After that, they looked at Commander Paolo before turning to the soldiers around the base and waving their hands. "Thank you for all of you." Ooh. The boys and girls became crazy. It seemed they'd become a celebrity in this base after what they did in the base. They even stopped whatever they were doing just to see them off. Paolo walked toward them with a smile and said, "Look at them. Not only the boys but the girls are also smitten by both of you. Well, I can't say anything about it since everything is due to your contribution. You have indeed helped us all, so we are really grateful." No, we just did what we were supposed to do. There is no such thing about students from the magic school, the military school, or even an independent soldier trainee. We all are the soldiers of this base. That's all about it." Ayaka shook her head, putting on a genuine smile. "Yes, we have endured it together and emerged victorious." Tasha repeatedly nodded before looking at Paolo. "You too." Paolo smiled before shouting at the soldiers in the base after finding them ogling these two figures. "Hey, you guys! Don't think about it. You won't be able to take their hearts. Besides, you can't be compared to the boy they love. Give up. That's my advice." The guys started screaming and showing their unwillingness while the girl kept saying whether they had a chance as well. Regardless, the situation turned warmer. "Anyway, I have both of your contacts along with your guy and that Rhea Ross. Maybe it will be something we need in the future. But for now." Paolo fell silent and his expression turned serious. Erica seemed to notice what he wanted to do and became serious as well. Suddenly, Paolo saluted and said, "It's our pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your service." Erica followed him instantly. Ayaka and Tasha were startled at first, but the soldiers seemed to have picked up the intention of their highest commands, Paolo and Erica. The atmosphere became serious and silent before every single of the soldiers gave them a salute and shouted together, "Thank you for your service." The voices were one, giving it a nice ring in one's ears. Ayaka and Tasha were overwhelmed by the favor and saluted back. After 2 seconds, Paolo put down his hand before everyone followed suit. "Take care then," Paolo smiled. Ayaka and Tasha nodded and turned around, walking to the helicopter, whose loud sound got overwhelmed by the shouts. After closing the helicopter's door, they flew to the sky while waving their hands until they couldn't see the base anymore. At the same time, in the EU base international airport, Evan stood before a middle-aged woman. Her beautiful hair was tied into a ponytail, giving a vibe of a serious person. However, what she showed to the public was the complete opposite. She hugged Evan to the point she clung to him while saying, "How about we extend another month? Right. I can use my authority to have them lend you 1 more month. Look here. You are the perfect fit to be my successor. Besides, my little angel is taking a liking to you. How about coming to my house again and living there? I still have many things that I can teach you. You must want to do it. Right?" She desperately tried to convince him to stay, but Evan only grabbed her and pushed her away. He dropped her to the ground and took a few steps back while putting one of his hands in front of him to deflect any kind of danger. "What are you doing? As I said, I already have someone that I will marry in the near future. Besides, I am a zodiac. It's hard to produce an heir for various reasons. And don't think about me living here. I am going to suffocate soon because of..." Before he finished his words, a young 10-year-old girl hugged him from behind tightly. "You are leaving Lisa here. You brute." "What?" Evan became even more troubled, never expecting that the little girl came. When he found a butler that had been taking care of him near them, he realized that the little girl came here with another car. "Why are you here?" "Lisa just wants to stay together with big brother Evan," she pouted. "No, you are going to stay here. Besides, you know that I already have someone." "Don't worry. Lisa learned it from mother, and Lisa can make something so we all could be drunk in pleasure. Oi, you old hag. What the heck are you teaching to your 10-year-old daughter?" Evan shouted. "I am teaching her everything." Her tone was filled with pride, as if she didn't do something wrong. "As expected, all your brain fluid is poison, not water anymore." Evan then tried to break free from the little girl, but her grip became even tighter, not wanting to leave him. Evan was in front of a huge cliff. When Isabel knew about this, there was no doubt that she would kill him, even though he did nothing wrong during his stay here. "Ho, look at you. All of you can't stay calm." Suddenly, an old man walked with Sophia. Yeah, he was Sophia's grandfather, the one that had taught her this whole time. He only glanced at Evan and the little girl before making a smug smile. "What do you want to taste my poison, you old shtit?" Evan's teacher turned into her drill mode again, as if she wanted to challenge him. "This is why you can't keep him here." The old man shook his head in disappointment before turning to his granddaughter. "Remember, our Campbell family is that family that couldn't be underestimated. If you are pregnant, everything can be solved easily." Sophia face-palmed and shook her head helplessly. "What, it seems your little girl can't even do something you request. This is why you old man is incompetent." Evan's teacher used this chance to mock him again. "Ho, even though you haven't heard my proposal." The old man had a slight grin before saying, "I want a powerful aphrodisiac, so I can ship them to the US base. My daughter can use it after that. Do the deed first, and everything will follow. And with that, we can slowly get your student to be here with his help." Ho! The idea piqued her interest. Sophia and Evan couldn't contain their voice and corrected them at the same time. "Oi, you two know that we are here, right? Mother, can Lisa take part in this plan too?" The little girl ran to her mother and raised her hand cutely. However, Sophia and Evan already ran away from them. Evan didn't forget to shout, "I am not a pedophile." When Lisa heard that, she turned around. Instead of crying because Evan escaped, she only put both hands on her cheek and looked down like a maiden in love. Then, I can still do it a few years from now. Both Sophia and Evan were stupefied as Sophia couldn't help but comment while running away. All right, we have a sex criminal here. Chapter 359. When Prank Goes Wrong. 1st April was the start of the new curriculum. The students finally returned after a long vacation. Unlike the previous year where they got work for a raid mission, the students had truly gotten their long vacation. Inside the Carter family house, Kai was fixing his hair and uniform before Tasha's voice rang on his ears. Kai, we are going now. This might be an advantage in daily life since Tasha or any other family members never had the need to raise their voice when calling him. I'm coming, Kai replied with a loud voice and started walking towards a living room where Tasha was waiting. To his surprise, his parents were there too. Considering they had gone for 3 months, they missed them so much, so neither Tasha nor him said anything about it. They only recalled when their parents hugged them tightly as soon as they returned home. After finishing all the preparation, the two headed to school with Tasha's teleportation magic and took the classes that day. After lunch, they only had one more class before they gathered again in their usual room to pass the day. Kai headed straight to the room with Michelle and Sophia. You two look stronger. Kai smiled. Hehe, you too. Michelle smiled back. However, Kai noticed something was different from Michelle and asked, Are you all right? Of course. I have settled everything already, so you don't need to worry about me. She waved her hand. Kai furrowed his eyebrows before giving her a mysterious statement. Every now and then, there are people who seem to sacrifice a lot for others, even though they can solve it easier when they tell the others about it. Michelle also understood his hidden meaning and kissed his cheek. Don't worry, I am fine. Okay. Kai nodded, not wanting to pry her secret any longer. Although he worried about her, pestering too much might also destroy one's relationship, so he chose to trust her and stop talking about it. By the way, do you want to make a surprise for this April Fool's Day? She asked. Kai and Michelle frowned, wondering what she had in mind. You see, there is interesting information about Evan, she smirked. What is it? Kai asked. You should know the poison master of EU base, right? The two nodded. She has a daughter, currently 10 years old, and there is Evan, a predator. All right? You don't need to talk about it anymore, I've got it. Kai stopped her while nodding his head repeatedly, knowing what she wanted to do. I'm going to change then. Sophia grinned before leaving them. Kai and Michelle exchanged looks and understood their roles in this. They waited for Sophia to change, and as expected, Sophia looked like one. I am ready. Kai noticed there was a different voice but wasn't noticeable for normal humans, so he thought this was perfect to start. They then walked toward their room before slamming the door. Bang! The group was startled, but soon replaced by confusion as they looked at Michelle and Kai, who seemed to be angry. The two glared at Evan with a disgusted expression. Evan tilted his head for a few seconds before remembering that someone had certainly witnessed what happened in EU base. His body became tense, and he gulped down. Evan. Kai glanced with a cold gaze. Why, yes. Because of the situation, he couldn't contain his calm and stood up suspiciously. With this alone, Ayaka and Tasha seemed to find something was not right. However, Kai's expression didn't let them ask about what happened, so they decided to see how this would play out. I am disappointed in you. Kai let out a long sigh. I have never expected that you don't even spare a kid, said Michelle while shaking her head helplessly. Spare a kid? Ayaka and Tasha gasped and couldn't contain their curiosity. Did he kill a kid? No, he is the worst. He is a sex criminal. Michelle shook her head and uttered those words with killing intent. I didn't do anything, Evan exclaimed, trying to explain everything, but Kai interrupted him. Then, do you think corrupting a 10-year-old kid is not a crime? Like I said, I didn't do anything. I just trained. Ho. You didn't do anything. Kai narrowed his eyes. Sai only played with her like how a normal kid would play. Evan finally corrected his statement before adding his explanation. I just helped my teacher to take care of her daughter. Since she helped me during my stay, I tried to give something back by helping her in this area. Oh, really? Then what's with the statements that shouldn't be known for a 10-year-old girl, especially with drugs? Michelle added the fuel to the flame. This certainly influenced Tasha and Ayaka, as both of them looked at him with disgust. To think I haven't really known my own comrade that has fought together for almost 2 years. I agree, we might need to call the authorities here. Wait, is there any international organization that deals with this type of stuff? I don't think so. We should call the one in this base. Ayaka shook her head. Let me explain, Evan shouted before he dropped his jaw. Isabel's figure slowly became visible behind Kai and Michelle. Cold sweat started covering his body as he instantly rose to his feet. Ayaka and Tasha then realized what just happened and found Isabel behind the two. This problem. We are not qualified to deal with it, so we bring her. You two should deal with it. Kai let out a long sigh before walking to the side. Michelle also did the same, revealing Isabel completely. The person in question only had a cold glance. She looked down on Evan Neal. When Evan heard that, he instantly fell on his knees. Isabel slowly walked closer to him without any reaction. The situation became tense since no one said anything. I want to cry and run from this, but I just can't. I ain't disappointed in you. Isabel's sad voice penetrated his heart. Evan looked down, feeling guilty. When he wanted to raise his vision to explain, he found a tear splashed on the floor. As expected of Sophia, she knew how to act. Evan wanted to wipe her tears but realized he wasn't worth it. Suddenly, Kai and Michelle couldn't contain their poker face anymore and began laughing. And Kai deemed this prank should stop before it went wrong. Seeing the two had enough fun, Sophia finally smiled. April Fool. Evan didn't have a reaction for a few seconds, as if his brain had a short circuit. Yes, this is all just a prank, Kai explained while laughing. He then pointed at the door that still opened. That door, if you take a closer look, you should notice a thin translucent barrier. It's my sound insulation room magic. After realizing that, Evan instantly noticed the thin layer, and Kai finally retracted the barrier. The sound of people talking in the corridor could be heard again. Evan clenched his fist, wondering why he didn't notice this. Even Tasha and Ayaka got fooled because of the issue. Still, what a great laugh, said Kai with his hand on his stomach, laughing too much until his stomach hurt. You bastard, I'm going to kill you. Evan shouted and slammed the table. I almost got myself killed. But, seriously, I can't understand how you charm this little girl. Just so you know, although the age limit is reduced from the previous civilization, you still need to be above 16, all right? You can't do anything to a little girl like that, Kai warned him. I know, but I'm sure she was just kidding. It was completely her mother's fault, not me. Evan sighed, frustrated. That's not my problem. As a friend, I won't say anything about your personal problem, especially in this area. But I think you should talk about it with Isabel. I know. Still, to think a certain player manages to grasp the heart of a 10-year-old girl. When I heard it back then, I was about to call the police to handle a pedophile. Sophia grinned, teasing him again. Anyway, Michelle, can you close the door? I have retracted the barrier, so it's better to be closed, sure. When she was about to rise from the coach, another familiar voice resounded in their ears. The group instantly turned around to see another Isabel standing in front of their room. Ho, I certainly found something great. The group instantly gulped down, realizing that the prank had finally gone wrong. Sophia instantly changed her face again, so as to not impersonate her anymore. Evan's face turned pale while the others became tense. Isabel, who just learned the news, brought the souvenir bag she brought. She slowly walked toward Kai with a smile before giving it to him. Her smile was still there, and she even thanked him politely. It's been a while. This is not much, but this is some appreciation from me. Kai's movement was stiff, but he still managed to grab the bag. He remembered there was also a present for Evan and Isabel from his teacher, so he gave it to her. This is from my teacher. I am sure it will help. Isabel took a glance at it and realized what the present was. She bowed to him again. Thank you very much. Please, give my thanks to your teacher too. Why, yes. Isabel then turned around and walked toward Evan. Darling, can you kindly explain all about this? Of course, we shall not disturb the people here, so let's talk about it somewhere else. Evan knew that his life ended today. Isabel didn't let him go and immediately grabbed his collar, dragging him outside. She didn't forget to close the door, but everyone could see her summoning her weapon before the door was closed. They looked at each other and blinked their eyes a few times, not knowing what to do. Chapter 360 presents. The next day, Kai and the others found Evan miserable. He looked exhausted and lacked sleep, without even a single word. They knew what he just experienced. Kai patted his shoulders a few times and said, "You've worked hard." "It's a blessing in disguise," Michelle added, fully knowing what the souvenir that Kai gave yesterday. Evan and Isabel had broken through the last barrier due to their zodiac blood. Even Isabel knew it was just a joke. And if it were true, what else could she do? She just wanted to talk it out, considering polygamy had become a norm in this era. Evan hated and loved Kai at the same time. It was true that the medicine he brought was the one breaking that barrier, and the joke became the reason for them to finally take that step. But he thought he could do it with something more romantic. Nonetheless, Evan still bowed and thanked him. "Anyway, I won't bother with your problem anymore. Considering you all have gotten a huge leap in your strength, I have a present for you all." Kai smiled. The girls were startled and almost forgot the fact that Kai actually wanted to give them something after the training. Of course, he had a separate present for Evan and Sophia. He took them out first. "This is for you two." Evan and Sophia grabbed the present, still wondering what they got. "You can open it." Kai smiled. Sophia was the first who took out the present, finding a small stick inside the wrapped box. "This is..." She furrowed her eyebrows and activated the stick. Suddenly, a shield popped out with the stick as the handle. "I don't know your training menu, so I am not sure what to give you. The only thing I can think of is a shield. This shield is made of a synthesized material that can rival the protector's shell. In other words, it's strong enough to stop my vibration sword. And you all don't need to cheat again like when you fought against me." Kai glanced at Ayaka, whose spear got buffed before the latter only looked away while pouting. As for Sophia, she smiled. "Thank you, I love it. Instead of Tasha and Evan, I believe I will be the one targeted the most, so this will help me." She placed down the white shield that had nothing on it before turning to Evan. The others then looked at him, wondering what Kai gave to him. He grabbed the holster inside the box and saw one thing that stood out. It had the same material as Sophia's shield. His holster was one that ran through his chest and back, covering much more than the holster on the waist. You might already notice it, but your holster is made of the same material from it, so you will feel a bit restricted. However, this one can help your exoskeleton in protecting your body. Besides, you are using 2 guns right now. This holster will bolster up your defense. Kai nodded. "That's nice. Thanks, Kai." Evan nodded and put it on. He moved left and right before giving a comment on the holster. "I don't feel that much restricted. Just a minor adjustment in my movement will do. It's perfect." "Well, I brought the medicine for you yesterday, but since Isabel was there, I handed it to her." "Ah." Evan looked away, refusing to say something regarding that. Meanwhile, Kai turned to Ayaka first, making the latter think she was first. However, Kai didn't give her anything. Instead, he asked her, "What is the progress for Evan's bullet and the explosion arrow?" Ayaka sighed and explained, "Evan's bullet is ready. I have brought it with me already." She reached the bag she brought with her this morning and handed it to him. There are 50 bullets inside, with each magazine containing 5 explosive bullets. "Make sure you use it wisely, thanks." Evan nodded with a serious expression. Ayaka nodded back and continued. "As for Tasha's explosion arrows, they are in the last stage. Just need a few tests, and she will be set to go. Probably in another week." "What is the spec?" "There is a circuit there. So if there is a lightning current from your magic, it will have a short circuit which breaks the protection of my explosion magic. The explosion itself is the same as my time bomb. Unfortunately, due to the unstable circuit, it can only withstand the explosion magic for 30 minutes. Any longer than that will just explode my magic." "That's nice. Tasha pretty liked the time and the firepower. How many are there?" "It's a bit expensive since only a few have been able to create an item that can hold magic with time. So, I have only procured 10 for you. I think we can start lowering the cost after having more research about it." She nodded. "Thank you. That must have troubled you. It's fine. We do this because there is another potential in this arrow. If we add the magic that can add an additional force, we can make a bending bullet or something. This will be very useful on the battlefield, and the cash flow will not be a problem anymore." Ayaka shrugged. Then, it's time for the present. Kai then handed each of them a necklace. There was their name on it, so no one would mistake someone's necklace. However, the girls quickly realized that the necklaces were similar to the one Kai wore. Michelle rose from her seat and dropped her jaw. Kai, this. Seeing the huge reaction, the others realized and panicked for a second. Kai only smiled and answered her, yes. It's the exoskeleton. Because she wanted to be recognized as well, she chose not to hide this matter anymore. She opened her mouth, explaining what happened during the negotiation. In order to go to my base, Kai made an additional term, which is to hand him a total of 4 exoskeletons. Wait a minute. This sounds wrong. It feels like you just sell yourself. I made this condition to counter that. Kai rolled his eyes, feeling annoyed. Fair enough. Anyway, the scientists have adjusted the data to your size. Unless some parts get bigger, I think it will suit you. Well, you can adjust it easily, to be honest, so why don't you try it? The 3 girls looked at each other and signaled each other. They decided to use it at the same time. The white exoskeleton started covering their body. It looked the same as Kai's exoskeleton, though some parts got tweaked to fit a woman's figure like Sophia's. Regardless, it fit them perfectly. Anything you find wrong? Kai asked. Nope. Ayaka shook her head before accidentally stepping back. It was then she noticed the difference between with and without an exoskeleton. The step was very light and filled with power. If she couldn't control her strength, she might injure someone at this rate. Besides, with her gaining more strength, it would greatly impact her momentum in a good way. The same applied to Tasha. Unlike the gun, the power in the bow and arrow can be increased with a heavier bow. If she could carry this much strength, it would be best to get a bow that could suit her current strength and had her usual bow to sit as a replacement. Ayaka, do you mind if I come to your house later? I need a new bow, Tasha asked. Sure, do you want to stay for the night as well? She smirked. The two's relationship had gotten better because of the time they spent together. Tasha also felt this natural because there were too many jokes they had thrown around. She only shook her head and said, Nah, it's fine. I will be quick. All right then, Ayaka nodded, grabbed another device from her bag and handed it to her. Tasha activated the device and found a catalog for the weapons sold by the Kudo group. This one has it all, including our prototype. Not the one we sell in general. She smiled. Choose your weapons now, and we can test that in my house. Okay. While the two kept talking, Michelle had been testing her exoskeleton by moving around the room, punching and kicking the air. A bit tight, especially in this area. Michelle embarrassedly pointed at her chest and ass. Tasha and Ayaka instantly exchanged looks and nodded at each other as if they planned something. Having the feeling of what these two planned to do, Sophia grabbed Evan and dragged her outside. Come, you need to go outside. Wait again. Evan didn't understand why he needed to leave before Sophia rebuked him. You grabbed Isabel's yesterday, so no complaints. She threw Evan to the corridor and closed the door. Tasha and Ayaka slowly walked toward Michelle. The latter already knew what they were going to do and hid behind Kai. However, Sophia acted smartly and transformed into Michelle while playing around with her body. She has indeed grown a few centimeters. In the middle of the C cup, huh? Wait, you can do that, Michelle gasped and started panicking. Meanwhile, Tasha and Ayaka already gathered around Sophia and observed her. Arrival is coming soon. Tasha furrowed her eyebrows while Ayaka looked away and snorted. I am not sulking. Oi, don't play with someone's body like that, Michelle shouted. Kai remained silent this whole time. In fact, no one noticed that he had already disappeared and chose to sit on the couch while waiting for them to finish their little teasing game. Kai, help me. Michelle looked at him with a wronged expression. Kai let out a long sigh and put a document on the table. Next mission.